the gap between the income of your working years and the income needed in retirement? Municipal bonds might provide the solution you're looking for. Henyon & Walsh is a leading specialist in tax-free municipal bonds and has provided investors with quality service and personal attention since 1990. Call now to receive their informative bond guide absolutely free. Dial 1-800-761-9761 to learn how to earn retirement income while keeping your taxes at bay. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for a copy of their informative bond guide for free. No cost, no obligation. 1-800-761-9761. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Fall is in the air and the season for trucks has arrived at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. If you're ready to conquer the changing weather and want a truck that's like new without breaking the bank, then shop Steed Ponte Chevrolet. Test drive a 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active all-wheel drive with only 13,000 miles or a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab LT four-wheel drive with only 18,000 miles. These are not just any trucks. They're certified pre-owned by GM, ensuring quality and reliability. Plus, when you choose a certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Ponte Chevy, you'll receive a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Visit us online at SteedPonteChevy.com. Embrace the fall season with a truck from Steed Ponte Chevrolet and find new roads. Steed Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. These trucks won't last long. Offer ends October 31st, 2023.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
He called it a historic budget. Historic because Peceni hasn't raised the Oneida County tax rate in 11 years. Michael Hennessy would like to remind you that in his 17 years in office, Peceni never lowered the tax rate. And his historic budget doesn't raise the tax rates because he can't. Oneida County is operating at the maximum allowable sales tax rate by New York state law. Now you can make a historic difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, the true independent candidate that can stop the historic spending. The historic spending that goes up year after year after year. It's what generational politicians always seem to do. Spend more of your money. Be a historic hero. Vote Michael Hennessy for county executive.
I'm Michael Hennessy, asking you to make the difference. Vote Michael Hennessy, November 7th. Thank you.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today.
It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
There's a bit of a chill in the air, but it's not that bad.
It's not.
And it's going to warm up. It's going to warm up.
Yes,
We're
it
going to
is.
be 80 degrees. Joe
Yeah.
Lowe will be swimming in his pool by Thursday. Okay, let's get into a whole bunch today. Obviously, a busy morning, a lot to do. We will talk this morning with Kaz Tangura, the superintendent of schools at New Hartford, on the bus issue. This is the school bus garage they were going to be building behind Miles Elementary School off Clinton Road, and it would include some of the wooded area back there. People have gone crazy over that.
When you mention wooded area, it's not because they're going to knock down a couple trees, is it?
Well, I think that is the issue, and also there is some sort of a rare breed of salamander over in there. I don't know. That's what I've heard. I know you're laughing, but I believe it's true.
Get out of here.
And I think people walk through there. It's kind of a nature walk. I don't know. I've never been down in there, so I don't know. But we'll talk to... Now, I believe that has been taken off the capital project vote coming up in December.
Okay, so
I think they've punted on this, and it won't come back into play for another couple of years.
What is it? The current bus garage behind the athletic fields at the high school?
Correct, and it's a real problem there. In fact, they put out pictures of how close the buses have to park together in order for all of them to fit in that garage. And then it's over there right where students are walking in to either school or to the athletic center back there into the fields. So this is probably a project they believe that they need done and have needed done for quite some time. So we'll get into that coming up, and we'll speak with the superintendent of schools over there. Senator Joe Griffo is in this morning. Dr. Kent Hall is on. Herkimer Originals, their season getting underway. The NBA gets underway tonight with a pair of games. And I have a whole bunch more to get into here this morning. Do you want to start with the Utica mayoral? By the way, there was a debate last night, or a mayoral forum last night. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. And there is a forum tonight at the Capitol Theater in Rome between the two candidates there, incumbent Mayor Jackie Izzo and her challenger, Jeff Lanigan, will go at it tonight on the stage at the Capitol Theater. That will be streamed live, and we'll have a story up today where you can go from our story and link right to it. We'll work with Rick Lewis on that, who I think is handling that over there. So some interesting forums coming up. Early voting gets underway this weekend. So there are 3 locations in Oneida County, 1 location in Madison County, 1 location in Herkimer County where you can vote early. And for the most part, it's like 9 to 5 every day. Yeah. The hours are up on our website. There's a story up there you can check out at WIBX950.com. A few weeks ago...
Are you an early voter?
I normally am not. It is really funny how it's kind of political. It's like, do you early vote?
Yeah.
You do you?
Well, they say the Democrats say vote early and often. That's what they. No,
I believe that's
I'm
the slogan.
kidding. I always say that. Don't get mad at me. It's a joke.
Okay. A few weeks ago, we had Bob Cardillo on, and do you want a little controversy? And
I do.
I'd like your take on this. So a few weeks ago, Cardillo was on, and he said we had asked him. This was after Galimi was on, and he was bothered over something with the endorsements of police. And he made it clear that he was endorsed by UPD, the union, by the state police, et cetera, et cetera. And when it comes to law enforcement, he has been endorsed, basically, he says, across the board. So he made that clear, and then the next day there was something clearly going on there. He wanted to make it clear, and then Cardillo said, well, there's something out there, but I'm not going to, I don't think I'm going to get into it right now, and maybe I won't. And then we received an email yesterday of how this all went down between Cardillo's team and the Utica Police Union.
Okay.
And they've sent the media, they've sent us and others, the email string and how this happened. It started with Lou Parada, and Lou said, by the way, the head of the union for UPD is Josh Harrington. We should definitely try to get him on the air.
Okay.
So Lou Parada sends an email to Josh Harrington at UPD.com. I am Bob Cardillo's campaign manager, and as he continues his quest for the mayor's seat, I wanted to reach out to see, and this, by the way, is dated September 19th. I wanted to reach out to see if Utica PBA is scheduling interviews with candidates for endorsements. If so, Bob would truly love to talk with your committee to discuss the public safety plans that he has. As you may know, after his ride-along with the UPD, he has continuously supported all public safety officials in Utica more vehemently than any other candidate in the race. Please let me know if you can answer any of the questions. Please feel free to contact me. Signed, Lou Parada. Harris, the Harrington, I should say, Mr. Harrington, responds this way. Dear Mr. Parada, I have included the executive board in this email. Are you saying this? Did you read my email yet?
I do not have an email from
the
you
unions.
Yesterday.
Listen to this. The union's take is when Mr. Cardillo lost in the primary race, that his run for mayor for the city of Utica was over. This same situation occurred when the current mayor took office for the first time. By Mr. Cardillo staying in, we will be stuck with a Democrat as mayor again. Take the loss and get out. If we are stuck with a socialist due to Mr. Cardillo staying in after he lost, then he truly does not care about the city of Utica. We will be endorsing the Republican who won the primary, Mr. Galimi, signed Josh Harrington, union president. So Cardillo responds, Officer Harrington, I read your answer to Mr. Parada. Quite honestly, I was shocked by your comments. Take the loss and get out. Sounds like you are not an advocate of democracy. People deserve a choice. I provide the most experience and knowledge of any of the candidates. If you bothered to evaluate my background, which I provided some time ago, you will have to acknowledge that I have the most experience working with first responders during 9/11 and the Gulf Coast after Hurricane Katrina with the Bush administration. Let me add, President Bush, a Republican. Furthermore, I was the candidate that took the time to go for a ride-along to see firsthand how this community is affected by crime. I praised our men in blue and continue to do so. My opponent, Mr. Galimi, has been on the council for 8 years. What has he done to fight crime in this community? You obviously have no interest in Miss Friend calling her a socialist. Not a great comment for the leader of an organization who may have to work with that person in the future. Very short-sighted, as you may have to negotiate with someone other than a Republican. You should have, at the very least, given all candidates the opportunity to be heard. I'm sure your opinion is not shared by all. Bob Cardillo is the only candidate ready to lead on day one. Signed, Bob Cardillo.
I love how he closes out with his slogan. Right? That's
yes.
Bob there. He's referring to himself in the third person.
On day one, yes.
Bob Cardillo is...
and then Mr. Harrington responded to Bob. This opinion was a vote of the PBA board, and to tell me how to run the PBA is not your place. We do not need to screen the candidates. We have heard your message for years. The union does not need to explain themselves any further. And then this came from a campaign person. I was asked to forward this to you in the interest of free and fair elections. What is your take?
To be honest with you, I think you're going to be disappointed in this. Look, labeling.
I think the worst thing was calling when she could win.
Right, labeling her socialist. I was
starting
just say,
right out of the gate by saying, calling her a socialist, and I that's probably not the best way to place yourself for negotiations going forward.
Right.
In the event that she does win.
I agree with you there. Certainly, Celeste, I do have to say, at least has said very, very, very nice things about the Utica Police Department, and that the city is lucky, and that she'll say, we have a great police department here. I don't know that much that info surprises me. Is the idea, though, that they did not screen her at all? I'm actually more interested in her being screened than him.
Yeah, well, clearly they're saying that we have no interest in screening you. We feel you should be out of the race. I do think that it got a little more complicated when the socialist part came in.
Yeah. What is your take on it? I'll be honest. This is the same thing where teachers aren't political and we don't expect cops to be political, but the union behind them does endorse people,
sure,
and have feelings about things. I find it interesting. I'll say interesting. I don't think like out of bounds or anything that they bring up the 2012 election, when a lot of people would argue that boy, he's going to be mad at me because I know he's listening. The former comptroller Mike Sermonaro should have won if Bob Cardillo wasn't in the race and would have defeated Palmieri. And it'd be interesting to see, where we were further or ahead now if that had happened. You really don't know. You can't turn back time. But I'm really I'm surprised by those comments that they said it that bluntly. But what's your take on it?
Well, I guess I'd like to talk to Officer. I believe he's Officer Harrington. And get his take. I do think the line about because of you, if we end up with a socialist, another Democrat, I do feel that is that's probably not a smart comment to make if you have to ultimately. If you end up with, she could be your mayor for the next 8 years.
Yeah.
Is that what term limits are again?
I think they went back to 4. Yeah, to the 2 4-year
terms.
2
4-year terms. Yeah. Take it for what it is there. And I kind of thought that the police department had a decent relationship with Palmieri. But if you go back to the days when Houck was in there, it'd be interesting to talk to Steve Houck and see if Steve would talk about this. I'd like his take. If you go back to that time, and who was it? Brady, who was the
Tom Brady, I believe,
was the head of the union then. I do seem to recall what happened is the way everybody got treated, and I think it was under the Palmieri administration. There was a mass exodus. Do you remember right about that time, everybody was leaving?
Yeah.
And it was all over a contract, and they felt they had been duped by the mayor's office. So I can't imagine that feeling has gone away by any means.
If I'm not mistaken, the issue had to do with if they were injured on the job, they had to pay out of pocket or something like that.
Well, it might have been their families weren't covered. I forget what the story was.
Yeah, maybe it was families weren't covered.
But listen, Josh Harrington holding nothing back as the union president. And union presidents have to be tough, right? They have to say what they think, what is on their mind. However, I'm not sure that there's a chance that Celeste Friend could win this thing.
Yeah, I am surprised he's not more middle of the road, but I wonder if this gets to, and again, it's putting a blanket on somebody, how they, and I hate this about politics, where it's like, if you tell someone you're a Democrat, they already assume A, B, and C about you. And if you tell somebody you're a Republican, they already assume, X, Y, and Z about you. And that might not necessarily be true. But, that whole defund the police thing and a lot of the hatred, I think the feelings of hatred that were directed toward police, I think that plays a role in here, whether or not she's part of that.
It may play a role, but I got to tell you, I don't think that ever really became a problem in Utica.
No, not here. Not here.
And I get it. I understand, but it never became a problem in Utica.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that police in Utica have a very, very good, strong relationship with the community and with a very diverse community. So it seems. It's... I think you could have. There's a couple different things you could have done. You could have just screened, knowing you could have just been like everybody else. Screen, knowing you're never going to pick this person, either one of these, and you know who you're going to pick, but you screen anyway just to do the formalities, and then you make your choice. But interesting here.
It is interesting. So I'm going to reach out to Mr. Harrington.
I like him, and I'd love to see if Steve Houck would give his take on all of this here. Stefan Rubitsky right now on the line. Now, Stefan was I have a reason here. Stefan was at the forum last night with the mayoral candidates. Stefan, did any of this come up last night?
Well, actually, Luke Radel was at the forum as well, and he asked a question.
Oh, so we're going to get into that.
Anthony
we'll get into that,
Vicente wants a casino, and at one time one of the candidates said they would not back a casino. He wanted to know which one, and all of them got up and said they would not back a casino.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, since the stuff going on with Lulapola, people are distancing themselves, I guess. I don't know. All right. Well, what is that? Did anything come up about the police, though?
Public safety came up, and Cardillo wants the 5 precincts, and that was about it. They really didn't talk about the police in general.
Okay, all
just
right.
public safety.
Who do you think did best last night, in your opinion? I know you're not a Celeste Friend fan, and you seem to support Galimi, but in the interest of your view, who do you think walked away the winner of the forum? Was there, or maybe no one? Maybe nobody did.
I think Cardillo has the most experience, and he knows what he's talking about. I'm kind of leaning towards him.
So, are you saying that you're leaning to vote for Cardillo now?
I'm kind of right now.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure. It'll be between me and the voting booth.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You did put me in my place right there. How dare I even ask? All right, Stefan, thank you for your update. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Stefan, in this case, a reporter on the scene. Well, that's quite interesting, and I think that Bob does have a great deal of experience.
He does.
This is his third time running.
Correct.
And would be his third. Actually, the primary loss was his third primary loss, and this is the second time that he is. I'm not sure what happened the very first time, but he did stay in the race, and a lot of people do believe that because of it, Paul Mary won. It would have been Sermonaro otherwise.
Yeah,
and that was a close primary, by the way, between him and Sermonaro.
Yeah, it's interesting. He does have a lot of experience. It seems though that in the city of Utica, they're not buying it. They don't like him. They don't like his what was the old Tony Soprano line? You don't like the cut of my jib or whatever he said there. For whatever reason, he hasn't been able to connect with the Utica voter. I don't.
All right, coming up, we'll talk with. Put that rat all the way over in the corner there. Right in between that and that. There you go. Even a little more, Davey. I'll fix it. Thank you. The other issue is, was Galimi for the hospital? Was he against it before he was for it? He came out the other day and said he was never against it. But there's an interview out there with a high school kid at the time, Luke Radel. And it sounds like Luke was there last night. And that interview has resurfaced along with a story in the OD. So we'll get to that coming up in a second.
This is on that topic. I can wait.
All right, let's hold on all of that, and because I want to go to Tanya Powers. Britney Spears. If you've been following any of this, Tanya Powers is on to give us a little update because her memoir comes out. And there are reviews out there, and they are all over the place. And I did want to get
just like Brittany.
I did want to get an update on that. Tanya Powers, good morning.
Good morning.
So, what are we thinking about this? Her memoir here.
Well, I think it's just a testament to the fact that I decided to not take off today and read it, and instead be on the phone with y'all.
Okay, all right, that says a lot.
I did get the audiobook, and I will listen to it. And here's something very interesting about this that I realized when I got the audiobook. The audiobook's only about 5.5 hours. This is not a super long book. Usually, your standard like novel, thriller, or whatever takes like 8 or 9 hours or more. just in case you're not familiar with how long audiobooks are.
Yeah.
But this one's only about 5.5 hours, so it seems like a quick read. But I'm really interested to see what she has to say about the details of the conservatorship, because a lot of this has, she's finally able to say how things really were for her during that 13 years, which is hard to believe that lasted for 13 years.
I
but
know.
yes.
Yeah.
But she talks about, I think Vogue has a really good little piece of it where she kind of explains a lot of what she did, like for her. Remember, she had a 4-year residency.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? The Las Vegas residency?
Yeah.
That went on for 4 years. That started, during the conservatorship. I mean, her dad was like, well, she can't, handle her own affairs. Yet here she is holding up a 4-year residency at Las Vegas and, doing all kinds of other, albums and working, And that's what she points to. And she says, in her book, and she's made no secret about this since her court appearance where they ended the conservatorship, that, these people were making money off me, I wasn't able, they said I wasn't able to handle my own stuff, but yet here I am, being trotted out to perform so all these people could keep making their money.
Yeah.
And she wasn't allowed to, have any of it basically. And I mean, it wasn't just the money that she wasn't allowed to have, but she couldn't even drink coffee. There was a lot of restrictions that they had on her. So I'll be interested to see what else she says about this.
Well, and the audiobook is her voicing it, right?
Well, she did the intro. Michelle Williams,
okay.
the actress,
All right. Okay.
did the rest of the book. But I know that Brittany has I think she's done the intro to it.
Because I couldn't.
She doesn't read that part.
I couldn't imagine how in the world she'd be able to read the book without stopping and giving asides all the way through the book. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Wait till you really hear what happened here. And so that's interesting. All right. Well, you know what? I also do think that after you're looking at Britney Spears and her behavior. Since she's been an adult and she's tried to get away from this conservatorship and away from her father, here's my little take, which Tanya means nothing, but I do think that she, in order to be a big star, needed to be controlled because she's rogue. And I'll say that in a kind way, that you don't know what she's going to say. You don't know what she's going to do, so we have to hyper control her in order for her to be successful. And the problem with that is it really does open the conversation about, well, she's a product, and we have to keep real tight reins on the product. Otherwise, the product won't make the money it has potential to make. The problem with that is she couldn't be herself or her own person, right? Maybe she wasn't.
The problem with that was she was a grown woman.
She was a woman. Maybe she wasn't meant to make all that money.
Somebody else's. Yeah, I mean, she actually addresses one of the things that gets talked about her and referred to it the most, which is when she shaved her head in 2007. Everybody likes to still kind of talk about that, like make fun, but she actually explains in the book that part of this was her hair. As far as that was a big part of what people liked. She said, I knew that. I knew a lot of guys thought that was attractive. She said, shaving my head was a way of me saying to the world, you want me to be pretty for you? Nah.
Yeah.
And I'm paraphrasing. That's not what she says in the book, but I can't say that on morning radio or really any other time of the radio. But she said, she was just tired of it. And she was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to be this. I'm not going to do this for you any longer. And that is, it was a complete act of rebellion and independence on her part, because she was dealing with all this other stuff behind the scenes that nobody knew about. Everybody just framed it as, oh my goodness, Britney's off the rails. And, that was the handy way to put it at the time. Nobody stopped to think about, okay, hold on, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what else she has to say about this. She is.
Well,
I think she's leaving it all out there.
I would think that as a woman, this is very interesting because you wonder Britney Spears when she was 15, 16 years old, then when she's 20 years old and 25 years old, you wonder there are a lot of guys out during that period who were crazy. But they were allowed to just kind of go off and do their thing, and everybody just chalked it up to, well, there goes Charlie Sheen or some of the ones from the Breakfast Club or all of that. But they were never placed really with anyone over them, and no one really had control of them. I wonder if Britney Spears was a male, if this never would have happened, I guess.
I mean, I think that's a redundant question. But,
you're right.
That's just my personal opinion about it, which I don't usually give. But, no, this is not, and it wasn't just then. It's always been, there's always been a different standard. If you're a guy, you're just going rogue, and
that's right.
just wild. And if you're a woman, she's lost her mind. What is wrong with her? We need to take her kids away. And that's kind of what was going on with her at this point.
Crazy male versus crazy female have two different definitions in our world.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Okay there, Tanya. We appreciate it. Thank you. And that'll be interesting to I'd like you to follow up at some point and say, here's what I thought about this whole thing. So
don't worry. I'll listen to the book and let you know what I thought.
All right, good stuff. Thank you. We appreciate it. Tanya G. Powers. That memoir is out today. It is quite interesting, and it is quite interesting if you are if you're a female. Some of those guys that were just off the wall during the 80s and 90s, they were all guys, and they would go out and get into drugs. They'd get into trouble. They'd get into fights. They'd you'd find them drunk on the street somewhere. But you know what? They're guys. They wouldn't need a conservatorship.
Well, I will say this. I think in hindsight, and if you look at their net worth today, they probably would say, I wish I had a conservatorship.
But what's it worth? I think that it sounds to me like, here's the problem with Britney Spears. If you ask her before she's mega wealthy, she probably would be like, I'll do whatever I have to do. But then after all of this, now she has the money and she has the fame, and even though it's flawed, maybe she's able to look at it differently. I don't know.
Somebody who comes to mind, and I just looked up their net worths. Not that I think that's the end-all, be-all, but Miley Cyrus is somebody who was, sculpted, and obviously she was a child star, but was sculpted as this very wholesome, kid-friendly product.
She took complete control of her career, though.
And totally went in the opposite direction.
I'm no longer going to be the Disney Miley Cyrus or Hannah Montana. I'm going to be Miley Cyrus. My daughter was a huge Hannah Montana fan. And then we saw Hannah Montana turn into Miley Cyrus, and my daughter was still young, and like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she has complete control of her career, and look where she's taken it. So.
A quick Google search finds me that Miley Cyrus is worth $160 million, and Britney Spears is at $70. Again, I don't think that's the end-all, be-all. I think different times, different age groups, different genres.
Yeah.
But I wonder if, because Britney Spears still maintains that wholesome element, doesn't she? She's never had
no.
She doesn't have like a sex tape. She's never been
no, I guess not.
Posted as a major party animal.
But she is discredited. I mean, the things she puts stuff out on social media, like the weirdest things, and you're looking at it like, what is going on?
Yeah, I didn't follow her that much, other than when I was in high school. She had a couple hit songs. So
listen,
I don't know this stuff.
I'm no big follower, but that photo of her with the abs and everything else, it was quite.
Oh, you're gonna see this.
And maybe that's wrong because she probably was only about 16 years old when that came out. Hopefully, she was of age. All right, I have a few other stories.
Oh, wow.
That I want to get into.
She was.
JetBlue. Can you imagine flying on this plane? There was a plane that came into JFK the other day, and weight shifted on when they were landing. Must be the luggage shifted. Something happened, and the weight shifted on the plane. And as it landed, the nose of the plane went up in the air. So now you're landing, and you're landing on the back two wheels. You're like doing a wheelie. And in fact, it came to rest with the nose up in the air. That's how it came to rest. You're on this plane, and you're like cocked backwards, and you're looking up, and the plane is just sitting there. They say that in a statement, the jetliner, due to a shift in weight and balance during deplaning, the plane eventually leveled, the officials said. No injuries to passengers reported. The aircraft has been taken out of service. But could you imagine sitting on that plane and having that happen, and now you're stuck there? And what do you do next?
Yeah. So everybody was okay?
No injuries. There were no injuries. Aldi is now many Aldi stores. I don't know if ours has, but Aldi, and I think if I'm correct, Aldi is owned by Trader Joe's.
Oh, is that right?
So you will see somewhat similar styles, two different brands, but I believe that either Aldi owns Trader Joe's or Trader Joe's owns Aldi, one or the other. But Trader Joe's is big with beer and ciders and that sort of thing, and it looks like, at least in New York State, Aldi is going to be adding beer to its stores. Are you a big Aldi fan, Davey?
Well, I go to Aldi's. The one in New Hartford is selling beer already.
They are selling
The
it.
one over there by J.K. Lumber.
Okay. Well, there you go. They're now serving beer. This tech thing, this tech corridor, Buffalo, Rochester.
Can I just give you that quickly?
Yeah.
According to Reader's Digest, Trader Joe's founder Joel Colombe sold his business to Theo Albrecht, officially making the Albrecht family the proud owners of both prosperous markets. Aldi is split into two, per Forbes. Trader Joe's is officially part of Aldi Nord branch, the Aldi Nord branch.
So there is
yes, there is a connection.
There's a connection there. Schumer is very optimistic that upstate New York will win millions of dollars in semiconductor tech hub money. It is a corridor. Now, you said something I haven't read anywhere and haven't heard, and was going to try to get clarification today from Pacenti.
Go ahead.
Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse tech corridor. You're saying that Utica is a part of that Syracuse corridor?
Okay, well, you know what? I apologize. Maybe I put my foot in the mouth there.
I've not seen Utica mentioned at all in any of the stories about this. So, and I was kind of wondering, is Utica already a part? But I don't think so, because this is a federal distinction. So what this means is that corridor, if it's finalized, they'll receive a whole bunch of federal dollars, in many cases used to help attract the best talent to come here and work. And, of course, you know, you have the Micron plant that is going to be opening up. They're going to need a lot of employees there. But I'm not sure that I've seen Utica included in that corridor.
Okay, so the story I have here does not include Utica by name in the corridor, but isn't this what we've been sold for the last 10 years?
Well, there would be the Albany, Marcy, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo corridor. So why would you sell it to as just Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo? I don't understand, but we'll get clarification from the.
Oh, you're right. Albany's not included in this here.
No. So Albany would definitely not be tied to Syracuse. There's no reference to Albany or Marcy.
Oh, boy.
Interesting. What else did I have? Did you know that in 2022, we kind of heard the rumblings of this, but it was real. Andrew Cuomo was running for governor. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he would have won. Even with all the baggage that was going on.
Okay.
He said that he decided not to run for family reasons. Otherwise, he was about to run for re-election. And there's another story that I thought interesting. As the oil prices are surging, there has been a transaction in the oil world. Your Hess truck is now going to be owned by Chevron. Chevron has spent $53 billion on the purchase of Hess.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and actually, there is no Hess store around here where you can get your Hess trucks. It's one of those things that my parents every year would get our kids a Hess truck. So there you have it. Interesting stuff.
All right, so two things. As I continue to read on Trader Joe's and Aldi, Aldi U.S. and Trader Joe's are independently operated companies with no joint ownership. That's where another story I'm seeing here. Aldi and Trader Joe's are not the same parent company. They have no joint ownership. That's from another post here. And somebody chiming in, the plane story is one reason. Where they load the plane by groups. They mix passengers from the front and back. It would make the most sense to load from back to front, but it would cause the plane to tip back with the weight.
And I'm sure they have a very, very careful way of loading the airplane when it comes to luggage as well, right? And everything has a weight limit, etc. So that's really a good example because it was weight that caused this problem for the airplane. Richard, again, you do realize that friend wins. It'll be the worst disaster to ever hit the city of Utica. She is a know-nothing candidate and cannot answer one question at all. Keeler, she's a moron. I listen. I have no horse in this race whatsoever. I do not think it's fair to call her a moron.
I don't have a horse in the race either, and that's
she does
absolutely...
answer questions. She answers questions when we ask.
Correct.
But I know for sure Richard will not be voting for, although maybe he can't.
He's in New Hartford, right?
He's in New Hartford. Richard would not be voting for Celeste Friend. There is no doubt about that. And then the story that's was Galimi against the hospital or was he not? You have actually, because he came on the air and said, I was never against the hospital going downtown.
This is from the Utica.
This would not be an issue had he not come out the other day to say, never, ever was I against it. Meanwhile, this story exists out there.
Mike Gentile, the City of Utica Republican chair, picking and choosing quotes from a 30-minute interview is the exact lack of transparency that is concerning Galimi. Several times in that interview, says he's working to make the project better and will not fight to put it downtown. Will not fight to not put it downtown. If you listen to that interview, I don't know.
In a nutshell, you listen to the interview. Is he for it or against it?
I think he's clearly against it in that
interview.
interview.
Interesting. We'll talk about that on the other side. So much to deal with. I love it. At 6:59, WIBX Utica Rome. Actually, it's 7 o'clock.
They say they were treated well. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The two elderly Jewish hostages Hamas set free days after releasing 2 Americans.
When she first arrived, they told them that they are Muslims and they're not going to hurt them.
Sharon Lifshitz is talking for her mother, Yocheved. Both husbands of both women still being held captive as Israel keeps bombarding Hamas targets in Gaza.
You can hear the roar of Israeli fighter jets overhead. They are targeting the Gaza Strip while there are still 220 hostages being held in those tunnels. Also, attack helicopters along the border trying to take out as many Hamas and Islamic Jihad cells as possible.
Fox's Trey Yanks near the border. Palestinian officials claim the airstrikes led to 700 more deaths. It's now over 5,000 killed since the war started with that Hamas terror attack 17 days ago. In a few hours, House Republicans will gather again to vote for Speaker in private, considering 8 candidates, including Congressman Pete Sessions, who tells Fox,
I tended to be a consensus candidate. I'm not sure that's where everyone's going to end up.
This after Steve Scalise, then Jim Jordan failed to get enough support from their fellow Republicans to be elected Speaker. It's been 3 weeks now since Kevin McCarthy was voted out. Stellantis, Chrysler's parent company, says it's outraged by the UAW expanding its now 40-day-old strike to a Ram truck facility in Michigan, which the union calls the automaker's largest plant and biggest moneymaker. An Alaskan Airlines pilot charged with 83 counts of attempted murder for what happened on a flight Sunday when Joseph Emerson was off duty sitting in the cockpit.
Accused of trying to shut off the engines of an Alaska Airlines flight heading from Everett, Washington to San Francisco by pulling the fire extinguisher handles while riding in the cockpit. Alaska Airlines confirms the flight operated by Horizon Air was diverted to Portland, Oregon over a credible security threat.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The Texas Rangers are going to the World Series after beating Houston 11-4 in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. Tonight, they'll crown the National League champ in another Game 7, Arizona versus Philadelphia. America's listening to Fox News.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
We have partly cloudy skies, 37 degrees, WIBX news time. is 7:03. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's. Over a dozen bedroom sets, priced at just $9.99 or less. Nobody comes close to Carl's prices, quality and value. My Carl's in the New Hartford Shopping Center. The Thea Bowman House is receiving $250,000 in funding to construct an elevator at its DeSales Center on Genesee Street in Utica. The facility is home to the Academics First Child Care Center and the Thea Bowman House Child Care Center, and the elevator will now provide an accessibility option for those who need it, but it could also assist in transporting items, including food, from the ground floor kitchen. The DeSales Center is a 92-year-old four-story building that is the former St. Francis DeSales School. The existing building only has a chairlift that provides limited access to a small portion of the first floor. Well, there are several key races occurring in Oneida County, and early voting begins soon. In fact, in the Utica area, there are 3 candidates and a write-in candidate vying for the Utica mayor's race. Republican Mike Galimi, Democrat Celeste Friend, and conservative Bob Cardillo running for the mayor's seat. Courtney Muhammad running as a write-in. Of course, there is a contested race in the city of Rome for the mayor. Incumbent Jackie Izzo running on the conservative line. Jeff Lanigan is running as the Republican candidate. Early voting starts this Saturday, October 28th, and runs through Sunday, November 5th. Election day is set for Tuesday, November 7th. You can find the full list of early voting locations in Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison counties on our website at WIBX950.com. The Syracuse-Rochester-Buffalo region may be getting millions of dollars in grant funding after being designated as a federal tech hub. That money would go towards semiconductor manufacturing advancement. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's confident the area will get the funding, and the first recipients will be named in the spring. No word yet on what projects the money could be used for. The Central New York SPCA launching a new initiative aimed at finding shelter dogs new homes. The Time to Go Home program lowers the adoption fee for canines who've been at the shelter for at least 6 months by 75%. That means the cost of taking home one of the furry friends is just $50. As of the latest update, there were multiple dogs who qualified for that program. More information online at cny-spca.org. And Senator Kirsten Gillibrand calling on colleagues in Congress to keep the Affordable Connectivity Program running. The New York Democrat says more than 1.5 million state households depend on the program so they can afford high-speed internet service. Gillibrand believes the fast and reliable internet is no longer a luxury and is rather a necessity for everyday life. WIBX News Time is 7:06. Your Weather Center forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News.
On Eyewitness News, Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, patchy frost early in the coldest countryside, then partly to mostly sunny, much milder by afternoon, a high of 68. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 48. And tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, warmer with increasing afternoon clouds. Small risk for a spotty sprinkle or shower near sunset, a high of 72. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WTR. Meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
All right, in sports, the Texas Rangers advancing to the World Series for the first time since 2011. They defeated the Astros 11-4 in Game 7 last night in Houston, sending the Stros back home. They are the defending World Series champions no more. Adolis Garcia homered twice and had 5 RBIs. As a matter of fact, he set the Major League Baseball postseason record for RBIs with 15. Nathaniel Lowe and Corey Seager also went deep in the victory. Texas, one of just a handful of teams in Major League Baseball without a World Series championship. On the National League side, the Phillies will host the Arizona Diamondbacks in a deciding Game 7 tonight. The D-backs silenced the Phils 5-1 in Game 6 in Philly last evening. The Phillies looking to get to back-to-back World Series for the second straight season, while Arizona is searching for its first trip since 2011. Smitty, who are you rooting for? You did this like you were praying.
I'm rooting for Arizona.
Okay.
Because I have a hat of Arizona and the Phillies.
Yes, you have many teams. You have many teams that you wear hats of. The Vikings pulled off a major upset on Monday Night Football. 22-17, they beat the 49ers. Rookie Jordan Addison led Minnesota with 7 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins threw for 378. The Vikings improved to 3-4, and the Niners dropped to 5-2. The NFL suspending Denver Broncos safety Kareem Jackson for repeated violations of the unnecessary roughness rules. The league announced Jackson was suspended for 4 games, though he will appeal that suspension. The Eagles adding a big name to their secondary. ESPN says Kevin Byard was traded to Philadelphia from the Titans on Monday in exchange for Terrell Edmonds and 2 draft picks. Also, the league is looking into investigating the Falcons for injury report compliance. The NFL is questioning Atlanta about when the team found out rookie running back Bijan Robinson was physically well and why it wasn't reported per league policy. The 21-year-old played just 11 snaps and had just 1 rush for 3 yards in their win on Sunday. The NBA regular season tips off tonight. A doubleheader as Nikola Jokic and the defending champion Nuggets host LeBron James and the Lakers. Also, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors battle the Phoenix Suns and their new trio of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. WIBX News Time, 7:09.
Stop into Mattress Express in New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies. Plus, simply do a comfort test on our mattresses and get a $25 prepaid Visa card. Names like the Number Bed by Instant Comfort, Tempur-Pedic, Purple, Sealy, and more. Hurry, this is a limited time offer.
Are you looking for a way to make a meaningful impact in your community? Hospice and Palliative Care invites you to be a part of something truly special. Meet Jasper, our beloved resident dog at the Siegenthaler Center in New Hartford. Jasper is more than just a dog. He's a source of comfort and joy for our patients and their families. We're seeking volunteers like you in helping to take Jasper for a leisurely stroll on our beautiful campus. Just 15 minutes to a half hour of your time, 1 or more times a week, can make a world of difference. Imagine the smiles and the companionship you can provide by simply taking a walk with Jasper. It's a small gesture that brings immense comfort. Ready to be a part of this heartwarming experience? Call us at 315-735-6484 and ask for our volunteer department. Join us at Hospice and Palliative Care and make a positive impact one step at a time. Call 315-735-6484 and be the reason for a smile today. Hospice and Palliative Care, caring for our community one walk at a time.
Get ready for this week's half-off Thursday deal with SeizeTheDeal.com. Score your half-off gift certificate to Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro this Thursday morning starting at 8. Get $50 for $25 with Seize the Deal's half-off Thursday. Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Enjoy fine wine made on the premises in the tasting room, plus great food at the bistro. Just minutes west of New York State Thruway, exit 33 on Route 365 Verona. Get your half-off Thursday gift certificates this Thursday from Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Hurry, they sell out fast at SeizeTheDeal.com.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hard work has never come so easy. That's what you'll say when you take on a job with a New Holland all-purpose tractor from Clinton Tractor. Whether a Workmaster Utility, PowerStar, T5, or T6 tractor, you'll maximize your productivity with exceptional power, convenience, and comfort. Buy now and take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months or cash back on these 45 to 126 PTO horsepower models. Offer ends soon.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractors, we are pleased to partner with Syracuse University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Syracuse University's partnership with the IBEW will provide talented students the opportunity to advance their careers while shaping the future of the electrical trades and the industries they serve.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GEAR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GEAR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GEAR.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Hey, Steve Ponte Mazda, Ricky Z, and everybody over there ready to take care of you. Not just with brand new Mazdas, although they have beautiful, beautiful Mazda brand new vehicles, including the CX-90, which is wonderful. But also, as people are buying new vehicles and leasing new vehicles, they're trading in great vehicles. And they have a whole bunch of beautiful pre-owned vehicles on the lot. It is the ultimate customer experience with their number one goal, taking care of the customer. It's why they only select the best late-model Mazdas for their Mazda-certified pre-owned vehicles, and they offer a 160-point inspection and the balance of the 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. And if you need a lower price or a lower payment, just say to Ricky Z, let's make your deal on a Mazda-certified pre-owned vehicle. From the dealership that's achieved first place nationally in customer satisfaction, Steve Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Also, the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. And you know that Daylight has a lightning-fast drive-through. The pumpkin spice, of course, is back. Apple cider donuts, which are amazing. The glazed donuts are incredible. And, you know, those snowflake rolls for the holidays, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, any of your upcoming holiday dinners, you order them in advance. They'll be ready for you for Thanksgiving. And just either call Daylight Donuts at 315-724-7103 or visit them in New Hartford and get on the list so that the snowflake rolls, which are just mouth-watering, are ready for you to go for the holiday dinner. Okay, in studio, Nick Lano, good morning. How are you? Good to see you.
Nice seeing you, Bill.
Nice and tight on the microphone there, if you
pull
could.
that towards you. Yep.
Pull it right there, and it is basketball time once again.
Yes, it is. Happy to be here to get the season started for the Herkimer Originals. This year we have a really exciting team. 2 years ago, we were one game away from the division championship game in Pittsburgh. This year, we're coming back with some return players. We've also recruited some players that were played against us and kind of hurt us a little bit. So now they're on our side.
Nice. Let's talk about the first of all, the NBA opens tonight. This is the American Basketball Association, which has teams all over the country, right?
Correct. Yes.
What's your schedule look like? When do you guys open?
Okay. We have this Thursday. We're having a kind of a black and white game inter-squad scrimmage just to start it out.
Okay.
And we're going to be at Notre Dame at 6 o'clock. We're going to open the doors. I'm going to get some of the fans in there, the kids, to meet the players. And then November 5th, that's our opening home game. We're going to be at home. Yeah.
You know, that night, if you get the game to go long enough, I'm pretty sure, is that a Sunday?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the time change happens at 2 a.m. on the 5th, daylight saving time. And so you'll be back and forth between Herkimer and Notre Dame of Utica.
Correct. We've done that in the past. As we continue to build the brand in our fan base, it's been really good for the team, for the region. The fans in Herkimer are outstanding, really outstanding, and we have a good fan base over here in Oneida County, too.
I was going to ask, you talked about a couple of years ago they were a game away from playing in Pittsburgh. How much do these guys travel, and do they travel as a team, or they kind of go on their own?
No, we travel as a team, and the areas that we cover will be in Providence, we'll be in Springfield, we will be in Vermont, all over that northeast corridor. That's really the area that we're in. But this year, there's a lot of play down the thruway corridor. Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, Albany. So we'll be heading down that thruway, which makes it a little bit easier on the guys because this is really a second job for them.
Yeah.
They are full-time employed, and this is their passion.
So they get to make a little money and play the game they love.
Continue their career, and it is interesting because they have a pretty diverse background of what they do. But once they're on the court, it's like that's where their passion is.
Yeah. All right, and so season tickets, how does that work?
Season tickets come to the door this Thursday. It's open to the public for that preseason game, but otherwise it's $5. We also have an outstanding coaching staff back. One of the icons around here is Steve Babiars. He'll be leading the team. Steve had a stellar career with a national championship at Potsdam. Made it to like the last round with the New York Knicks in the early 90s. Chris Whitman is back, was a Herkimer grad, and then went on to Rutgers and play. These guys played. Steve was at Notre Dame High School. Chris was at Holland Patton, along with Jeff Litz to round off our coaching staff. We have a strong staff. Wow.
And talk about the significance of Herkimer. There's a reason why this team is in Herkimer.
Sure. Scott Flansburgh and his team believe and have evidence that we believe that the basketball was founded and created in Herkimer. There's a lot of data on that, a lot of intelligence on that, and we wanted to connect that founding of Herkimer with an ABA basketball team.
Okay. The ABA used to be the secondary professional league to the NBA.
Correct.
Syracuse Nationals used to play in the ABA. Now this is a semi-pro league which has several teams around the country. And you think this team is good enough to go all the way?
I believe this team, our goal is to get to that Final Eight in Alabama, and I believe that we have enough personnel to do it.
Okay. All right, Nick. Anything else you want to add?
Come on out. We appreciate your support. It's a great night. It's a great family night at an affordable price. Come out and see us.
Okay. All right. Good stuff.
They open their season.
Thank you very much.
Sunday, November 5th. And when you said at home, Notre Dame or Herkimer?
This game will be at Notre Dame.
At the 5th. Gotcha.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. We'll break quickly. Coming up, Pavika's free money question of the day. Dr. Kent Hall is next. We'll get an update on of course, less than 2 weeks away from MVHS, the Wynn Hospital opening up. Thank you, sir. And also, Kaz Tangora from the New Hartford Central School District is on, and we have some comments.
We'll get to those in a second. Believe it or not, somebody's calling out our man, Uncle Smitty.
Ooh.
In the comments. And then we'll hear from somebody as well with their take on the whole situation in the 4-way Utica mayor's race.
All right, interesting. Big races. If you see the story up on our website at WIBX950.com, we talk about early voting, the schedule of early voting, where you can vote early. All of that is up there for Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison County. But it features the two key races that are really going on, along with a third race, but two very contested mayor's races. And then, of course, you have County Executive Anthony Pacenti and Mike Hennessy going at it. Another big draw for this upcoming election in Oneida County. Dr. Hall is coming right up. Stand by at WIBX.
But I don't want to get a flu shot.
You don't want to get the flu again. It's just a teensy little poke.
Hi, guys. I know you don't like needles, so I brought Fuzzy.
What is that?
It's a device that uses vibration and ice to help take the sting out of shots.
See, hun, that wasn't so bad.
Wait, you did it already?
Yep, Fuzzy helps. And Kinney is the only pharmacy that has him.
I'm gonna tell everyone I know.
Great. They can schedule online at kinneydrugs.com.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-3009. 800-200-3009. That's 800-200-3009.
Ready for a smoother and safer ride? Head to Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, your trusted tire experts. At Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, you'll get expert advice from their knowledgeable staff. And it doesn't end there. Now through October 31st, buy 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get up to $100 back on a Bridgestone Visa prepaid card. For details, visit TallmansTire.com. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Get the tires you and your vehicle deserve at the best prices guaranteed. From Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Online at TallmansTire.com.
John and Marie heard about Mattress Express's newest promotion where you simply stop in, perform a simple comfort test, and get a prepaid $25 Visa card. They went to Mattress Express's location in New Hartford on Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies Plus. They tried Tempur-Pedic. They tried Stearns & Foster. They tried the 9 different purple mattresses. They loved them all. They settled on the Q9 King number bed by Instant Comfort in a flex head. John liked his side firm. We set it to 40, elevated his head and feet, said he'd never been more comfortable. Marie liked her side softer. She was an 18. What a difference. Elevated her head a little higher, her feet a little less. They said it was like they were each in their own custom bed. They qualified and signed up for the 5 years, no interest, no money down, did not give us a nickel up front. They, for their luxury rewards, selected a 75-inch flat screen TV. Hurry, this is a limited time offer. Come to any Mattress Express, perform a simple comfort test, and get a $25 prepaid Visa card.
Hey, the countdown is on for Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy. The Laughs and Liberty Tour coming to Utica Stanley Theater, sponsored by WIBX and the Keeler in the Morning Show. Fox News Channel's Naughty Stepchildren have teamed up for a big, big night in Utica, and there's still great seats available that you can take advantage of. We've released some new seats. And get in there. Go to the Stanley box office for details. You could also go to Ticketmaster.com. Of course, Kennedy, former MTV VJ and Fox Business and Fox News Channel, and our own Jimmy Fallon, who's on WIBX noon till 3 every single day right here, who was actually, Davey, talking about all of us just the other day.
Yeah, I heard through the grapevine, and
through the grapevine.
I went back and listened to it when I was here over the weekend.
It's the Laughs and Liberty Tour coming to Utica Stanley Theater November 11th. Get tickets by going to Ticketmaster or Ticketmaster.com. And if you want to buy Heroes tickets for a veteran, you can buy a pair of tickets for yourself, a pair of tickets for a veteran. And just mention at the Stanley box office only, not through Ticketmaster, mention that you want to buy Heroes tickets. The box office, you could do it online. You could do it also by calling them or in person. The box office at the Stanley, 315-724-4000. Heroes tickets for veterans, sponsored by River Hills Properties. Bill and Robin Manjo wanted to do something for veterans because, after all, the show plays on Veterans Day, November 11th, at the Stanley Theater.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, you have some comments here. What do you have?
Okay, so first of all, I'll get the Smitty thing out of the way. This is from your brother-in-law, Smitty, and he says, tell Davey that his nephew and his brother-in-law both will be rooting hard for the Phillies. That's what he said there, so I wanted to get that in. Okay, Scott Moon says, the Syracuse-Rochester-Buffalo National Tech Hub that excludes Utica-Marcy seems strange. Oneida County could have...
And Albany. It excludes Albany as well.
Oneida County could have been easily added to this Syracuse MSA, even if ultimately pointless. Why the explicit exclusion? What is the disqualification? Is there more to this? Would Williams comment on this or Schumer? So I think he's talking about Brandon Williams. We'll reach out to Schumer's office.
Yeah, I don't understand why we were left out of it. Now, your immediate assumption was that we were a part of it, but I've seen nothing to include Utica at all, and you would think that Schumer would have touted that. But he's doing nothing.
His father was from Utica. I don't know if you ever heard him mention that.
Talking nothing about all he's talking about is Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo.
Yeah, when I saw the headline, to be honest with you, yesterday, I assumed we were a part of it, but there's no mention. Lance and Lee, my take on the Utica mayoral candidates. Galimi is hard to listen to and seems a little arrogant and sneaky to me. Friend seems to explain her stance on things well, but has too many rumors about her political beliefs to win. Cardillo seems dated, bringing up working for Bush and others in the 80s, and the school board issues don't help. So Uticans really don't have a good choice here. That's the opinion of Lance and Lee.
To be fair, I don't think Bob, I think Hurricane Katrina and all that stuff was well past the 80s.
That is true.
Yeah.
And then I love...
And I don't believe he worked for George W. I don't think he worked for George H.W. Bush.
Correct.
Which, that would have been the 80s.
Yes, so we're talking early 2000s, right, in that era. And this is from, I love the trend here. We had Lance and Lee. Now we got Dick in Deerfield. He says, when you discuss Galimi's past position on hospital location, please mention his frequent supportive and sympathetic posts on the No Hospital Downtown Facebook page. His social media position was even more anti-downtown and anti-MVHS than his public media statements were.
Interesting. I find this, and listen, I know that the chairman of the Republican Party speaking out, the vice chair speaking out on this issue, and Galimi. I just think if there are these lingering interviews where you were against the hospital going downtown, and you were doing public interviews. I think there would have been a better way to explain it than saying she's lying. Basically, I never was against the hospital going downtown, but you have interviews that are that really lean, and you listen to the interview.
I listened to the,
and I get it. It's with a high school kid, but it's still a public interview. It's up there on YouTube.
Yeah, and Mike's
and your take was
that he definitely did not seem in support of it. You know, his objections were over, you're displacing businesses. He had concerns about the tax base. He made a point, which I thought was a valid point. He goes, every time you see on the media they show that that area is crumbling, there are 3 buildings they show that are really crumbling. 2 of them are owned by the city that they haven't done a thing to touch or improve. But you have other businesses, and he mentions about 8 businesses off the top of his head, one of them being Clementi that comes to mind, but the printing business and other businesses. He says, they pay taxes. They've put money into this building. We're just displacing them kind of under the guise of being for the good of everybody else. And that's my interpretation of what he's saying there. Again, you can go back and listen to it for yourself. But I think he clearly comes out as against the hospital being downtown.
I would have rather have heard from him last week saying, listen, I was working for the taxpayers. I wanted answers. I feel like I got those answers, and my opinion evolved over time. And number one, I'm for it going downtown at this point, but it doesn't even matter right now. I'm completely in support of the hospital as it's opening in 2 weeks. Easy answer. People should just call me and say, how should I answer this?
I agree with you.
I would just answer it for them. It would get them out of all of this sticky stuff.
I would say this,
No
though,
reason
Bill.
for sticky stuff.
You should disclose that. So when you ask the candidate a question, you should say, here's my question. I just want everyone to know you called me 2 weeks ago and asked me how I should answer this, and here's how you should answer it.
Here's how you should answer. Listen, I'm just saying there shouldn't even be an issue here, right? There shouldn't even be an issue.
Well, not at this point. Clearly not.
Davey, you're Dr. Hall, right?
Yeah, the hospital's opening in 5 days, Bill, not 2 weeks.
5 days, you're right. Well, but my point was last week when he told us he had never been against it, it would have been about 2 weeks. 5 days. I want to start with Dr. Hall. Almost half of all pumpkin carving injuries will occur this week, 90% happening in the last 2 weeks of the month. Be careful when you're carving that pumpkin. Dr. Kent Hall on the line right now. I mean, this is what gets you into the emergency room.
It is certainly one of the things that gets you in there. Absolutely true.
Which, by the way, the difference between the old emergency rooms and the new emergency room. Talk about that.
Oh, night and day. The old emergency departments certainly served their time and served the community well, and both were expanded as there was a need for increased emergency department care, and as the scope of emergency department care increased. The new emergency department is just phenomenal. I mean, the way that it is set up as a 6 separate pods, so that it can expand and contract as the volume of patients coming in does the same throughout the day, and staffing both for physicians and for advanced practice providers, nurse practitioners, and physicians' assistants will also expand and contract in anticipation of what the volume will be, as will nursing and patient care technicians and emergency technicians and all of the staff that take care of patients in the emergency department. But the layout is one thing. The technology that is in there and the ability to put advanced technology into it compared to the restrictions of what could be done with the current emergency departments just makes it phenomenal, and we are so looking forward to treating patients in there starting on Sunday.
All right, tomorrow we'll be actually broadcasting live from the new hospital. We're doing the show tomorrow from Wynn Hospital. We're excited. Where are you putting us, by the way, Doc?
I don't know. I presume you would be, you may be in the lobby. That would be my first assumption, but I haven't been involved in those discussions.
Dr. Hall's busy.
You're right.
When I booked this, I didn't go through Dr. Hall.
Okay. I thought everything went through Dr. Hall. Okay. Fair enough. So, but hopefully we'll speak with you certainly tomorrow from the hospital. But I'll ask you, what's happening right now? So if we're 5 days away from the opening, what's the timeline look like moving forward towards this epic event in Central New York and in Utica?
Yeah, so there's a lot of work going on because, as you can imagine, I mean, anybody who's built a house or anything like that knows that the last period of time, the last week or 2 weeks or whatever, is always a hard push to get the finishing touches on. Putting on brackets to hold computers and to hold other equipment. Touch-up painting. Just a lot of work being done that's kind of finalizing. And everybody also that's built a house knows that there's always a punch list. Things that are like, okay, we've got to get this taken care of. It'll probably be done after the move-in. So there will undoubtedly be some of those, but we are working hard to minimize exactly what those are.
So timeline, when do you begin moving things, staff, etc.? When does the process begin?
Yeah, so the process has already begun for some staff. In fact, my office has moved, and the executive leadership team's office has moved down to the Wynn effective last week, as well as some of the support staff, the medical staff office, some of the nursing administration. We have started to move much more of the existing OR equipment and other procedural equipment that we were going to move because it's only been bought in the last couple of years from the existing campuses down. Starting tomorrow, St. Elizabeth's will or ambulances will be diverted to St. Luke's, with the exception of ambulances that are carrying patients that have either trauma or potential cardiac problems, because St. Elizabeth's is the trauma center and is the cardiac center. Starting on Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning, both emergency departments, St. Elizabeth's and St. Luke's, will cease to admit patients. There will still be patients there that will be taken care of until their emergency care is done. And at the same time, at 6 o'clock in the morning, the Wynn Hospital Emergency Department will open. And we will start moving patients at 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So a lot of work to be done for that. A lot of things have been moved. A lot of things are being moved. People are starting to populate the hospital. Mostly obviously the support services that can reasonably be moved down there now.
Yeah.
Because we're still taking care of patients at St. Elizabeth and at St. Luke's.
All right. Wow. So much to do, and really so little time to do it. But it's all climaxed to this moment. Pretty cool.
It is unbelievable to think that it opens this Sunday. Wow, that's incredible. I want to ask about parking quick. Doc, can you reiterate again what the situation is for parking? If somebody's going down there to visit, where should they park? Also, I understand that some employees will be, bussed. There's parking at the old facilities and then being bussed downtown until the garage is ready to go.
Yeah, so as far as visitors go, we will have valet parking, and I would recommend, the executive leadership team recommends that anybody who's coming in to visit somebody should utilize the valet parking because it's so much more convenient. From a staff standpoint, there are multiple surface lots around the Wynn that we have access to or been given access to that will allow staff working different shifts, allowing the doctors and the other providers to park relatively close to the hospital. There will be some number of people that will be shuttled from the St. Luke's campus. That'll be the main campus that will be for parking off-site, and those shuttles will run 16 hours a day.
Okay.
And anybody who has parked there and needs to leave after the shuttles stop running, we have arranged for them to be shuttled back on an individual basis. So we're looking forward to the parking garage opening in the late winter, early spring, because that will certainly alleviate some of that. But we have a really good plan of how to manage parking for the Wynn in the interim.
All right. Doc, we'll speak with you tomorrow. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and please be safe.
All right, thanks so much. We will be broadcasting from there live tomorrow to do our own little tour and speak with those who are over there. It's going to be very interesting.
I do have to say that as I sit here, it does seem quite surreal.
It does.
That it's opening on Sunday. There's been so much talk about this.
If you've ever been waiting to move into a new house, he mentions that, or you redid rooms in your house and it's been a whole part of your house has been shut down for 3 months or what have you, and it's that one moment where it's done and you move in, the junk drawer isn't full, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of you might not know where everything is. They got a lot. There's a lot going on. I can only imagine the excitement and the organization that goes into making all of that happen. Pretty wild.
On a personal note, if I may, my mother has worked in the kitchen at St. Luke's since, get this, ready? Since she was pregnant with me.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
And I know my mother, we haven't talked about this, but I know my mother, and she will be emotional because she has worked so many hours and so many days in that facility and worked with so many people at St. Luke's.
At St. Luke's. St. Luke's I always said that St. Luke's was like, if you didn't have a place where you wanted to go for lunch and you couldn't figure out where to go, just go to St. Luke's because the food was always
it was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, really good. As a matter of fact, I think we joked about this, but I think it happened. Andrew took a girl on a date down there one time.
Yeah, that's a great first date. Right?
He's going to kill me. But I just want to say, Mom, if you're listening, I love you, and I know it's going to be a tough
now,
day for you.
Is she moving to the new kitchen?
Yes, but there's again, I'm 40, so she's been doing that for 40-something years. You're carrying a lot of heavy pans.
Yeah.
You're on a concrete floor every day. So I believe she is in the process of moving to something that is less wear and tear on her body.
Fair
but
enough.
I know she's going to be emotional on Sunday.
Hobica's Free Money Question of the Day is coming up next. After that, we'll speak with Kaz Tangora, New Hartford Superintendent of Schools, on the bus garage issue. We'll get an update That has been taken out of the capital plan for this upcoming vote. What does it all mean? Why is it needed? What are these salamanders that are so special? We'll find out from the superintendent, Kaz Tangora, coming up. Hobica's free money question of the day this morning. The jackpot, according to Siri this morning, is at what?
$300.
$300. Okay.
Sounded
Davey,
a little ornery this morning.
We got a bit of a almost sounded like Hobica there, a little bit ornery.
Habica?
Davey, your calling number that you're looking for this morning is
Caller 8.
Caller 8, the 8th caller for $300. Caller number 8 right now at 315-736-0186.
Get ready for this week's half-off Thursday deal with SeizeTheDeal.com. Score your half-off gift certificate to Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro this Thursday morning starting at 8. Get $50 for $25 with Seize the Deal's half-off Thursday. Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Enjoy fine wine made on the premises in the tasting room, plus great food at the bistro. Just minutes west of New York State Thruway, exit 33 on Route 365 Verona. Get your half-off Thursday gift certificates this Thursday from Villa Verona Vineyard and Bistro. Hurry, they sell out fast at SeizeTheDeal.com.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
Why should the Federal Reserve have so much power over your IRA or 401k? Whether they create a new bubble with low interest rates or pump the last bubble with high interest rates, a group of unelected government officials has no business deciding your future. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is just one more reason why I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Because precious metals are the best way to maintain your financial independence. And now you can hold gold inside of a tax-advantaged account. To learn more, text the word HEDGE to 989898. And my friends at Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text HEDGE to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
WIDX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, Chris is in Bridgewater, ready to take a shot at Hobica's free money question of the day. Joseph and Andrew Hobica at 315-724-1600 for all of your legal needs. Call them today. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
You ready to go here?
I am ready.
This is one of those where you'll know it if you know it. Does that make any sense? You'll know it if you know it. Here's your question. You'll have 7 seconds to answer. This music icon never learned how to divide or multiply. Which is the icon? Who are we talking about? Ready, go.
Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, that'd be of rock fame.
Is he in the right genre?
It's more classical music. And when you think of a classical musician, a pianist, you'd think of Beethoven, maybe? It's Beethoven.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and you'd know this if you knew it. It's one of those things that I learned early on.
I thought it was a guy.
Bob Dylan. Beethoven could not count. He actually could handle addition, but not multiplication or division. He was never taught it. In fact, he once had to multiply 62 by 50, and legend has it that he wrote 62 down a line 50 times and added them all together.
Wow.
That was yet the brilliance of Beethoven when it comes to music. Okay, how do you get to the fifth of Beethoven, right? Isn't that classic?
Yeah.
Well, he added that. We're going to give you the Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card, $25 gift card to Aquavino Babe, 72 Taylor and the Cook and Adirondack Bank Center, and Nexus. Chris, Davey's going to hook you up. We have to get your address, so stand by, okay?
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
All right, Chris. Thank you.
I love that and you knew
and I
just who it was.
It was Bob Dylan. In studio right now is Kaz Tangora. And did you know the Beethoven question?
I didn't even hear it.
Okay, so the question was, which music icon never learned how to divide or multiply? And you immediately know it's Beethoven.
Oh, you just told me.
Of course, it's Beethoven. Good morning.
A lot of guys who can't subtract.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, thank God for the... today you have a flashlight with you everywhere you go and a calculator. That helps. Okay, did you expect this parking garage issue to be such a big one? Because it turned into
bus garage.
I'm sorry, the bus garage. It turned into a biggie.
well, I didn't, but I guess I should have,
Yeah.
given the fact that this has been an ongoing conversation for the past 22 years.
Okay.
Right? So the record shows that, as far as I could tell, the first study that took place was in 2001 about, okay, we have a need for a new bus garage.
Yeah.
What are we going to
Yeah.
do? And it seems to never have ended. It's gone up for referendum a few times. It's been studied a number of times. But I didn't think that it would end where it ended this time.
Yeah, there were signs, like lawn signs on
No
properties.
bus garage.
No bus garage.
Upstate or downtown.
Yeah. Save the salamanders, or what is it? What is there? There are unique animals that apparently are inside the woods behind Miles Elementary.
Well, there certainly are, several species of animals and plants that would be impacted. I don't think they'd be totally eradicated, but they would be impacted. So that was one argument. The other argument is, listen, it's a beautiful piece of land in the middle of a town that doesn't have many pieces of land. There was a lot of, emotional connection to the woods. Folks who grew up in that neighborhood, who went to school at Miles, who, have memories of their childhood in those woods. So it all makes sense. And it's also, hey, I don't want it in my backyard. Right. So all of those things came to the board, I'd say in the spring of 23. Throughout the summer into the fall, at every board meeting, there were folks coming to board meetings, sharing their concerns.
So why is there? There are some who have said you have a perfectly fine garage right over there at the high school.
Yeah, but we don't. Right.
Yeah,
So the bus garage was, again, it was built in 1950. It's insufficient for a variety of reasons. And we've known about this. We, the district, have known that we need to replace that garage again, at least as far back as 2001.
Yeah, and I feel like this is deja vu all over again. I inadvertently said the parking garage, but it does remind me a little of the hospital. Where do you put the hospital? And aren't there people saying, well, why not just improve and rebuild what you currently have?
Yeah, there are people who are asking that question, but there's just not enough room.
Yeah,
so we're landlocked between the school and the parking, which we're short on as it is. It just couldn't be done without purchasing land in that area. We have 4 parcels in the district where it could go. One is down near the high school, near the current garage. We know that's an insufficient place.
Okay, all right.
The second location is at the Hughes Perry complex. But in December of 2021, a capital referendum was approved to improve the Hughes Perry area for better athletic facilities.
Okay.
So
utilizing that.
Utilizing that. We also own land behind the Bosse's on Middle Settlement Road that was once considered a place for the bus garage, and it was around 2017. It was going to go to referendum, but similar to this situation at the last minute, it was decided to pull that. There was some opposition at the time. It's no longer an ideal site. We don't really have access to 840 like we thought we were going to. There's been a lot of development in that area.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And then the last piece of land that we own is the Miles Woods area. So based on the land that we own, that was deemed to be the most ideal place. So what will happen now is we've taken the $12 million worth of work that was going to go into the bus garage. We've replaced that with work at the high school in Bradley that was identified in the buildings condition survey and we were going to do in the future. So that way we go out with the same project amount to keep the taxes level, the debt level, and no impact on the taxes. And in 18 months or so, a committee will be formed and to study where the bus garage should go. Very similar to the process that took place in 2016 and 17. There was a 30-some-odd community member.
Yeah. Maybe the answer is finally here. The answer to St. Luke's is the New Hartford School bus garage. I think that's technically, is that you?
No, it's New Hartford.
Utica. That is New Hartford.
Well, it's town of New Hartford, but I believe it's in the New York Mills School.
Okay, you may be right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you
this.
That
gets tricky.
It does get tricky. You said this has been going on since, what, 2001?
Yes.
So some might argue, well, how bad of a situation is it if it's been existing as it is for 20 years that way?
It's pretty bad, right?
What goes on now, and why can't you build over or expand on the current location?
There's just not enough room, right? So a couple things. We only have one lift. It's a portable lift. So our mechanics are doing their work on the ground, right? There is no other group of employees that we would subject to these conditions.
Okay.
Right? So it's unfair to the employees, number one. They need a better facility. Number two, the bus garage is too small to house conventional buses. So we have been forced to buy transit-style buses. Maybe you've noticed the New Hartford buses are flat-nose transit. They're more expensive than traditional buses.
Right.
So we need a bus garage where there are multiple lifts where we can get those conventional size buses into the bus garage.
And are you already out of space? Because I think some of there's a teacher center that's been moved up to the town of New Hartford. I believe is it Gander Mountain?
So yeah, we share space with the town. The town's been great partners. We've been able to share this space. So we took the adult occupied space in both Perry and Bradley and moved it all to the town. One concept would be because although it can't be used as a garage, a bus garage, it has good bones, right?
Yep.
We'd like to bring those people back. I'm the only adult that my assistant and I that occupy space in those two buildings anymore.
Okay, wow. And then I wanted to ask you, I have two more questions. You're going to love the second. The first, though, is any chance this the governor has set this mandate, which seems, in fact, my father-in-law is doing a workshop on this, and it's a big one. They're getting a lot of response because superintendents and school districts around the state are confused. How do we get this done? And we're not even sure the infrastructure is going to be there. Is this a goal that cannot be met?
I don't know, right? So I certainly applaud Senator Griffo's attempt to, hey, let's put a moratorium on this. Let's put the brakes on, right?
Yeah.
But having said that, I feel an obligation to be prepared, right? So 10 years from now, 5 years from now, if there is no change and the mandate goes forward, I didn't think we were going to really do this, isn't going to be an acceptable response to the taxpayers. So whether it happens or not, I'm not sure. Given the fact that we need to build a new bus garage, it's a concept that I'm thinking about. Yep. And regardless, we are going to start bringing in charging stations because we buy the first bus based on this current mandate in 2027.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
And there's a lot to learn on these buses, too, right? There's, number one, they're extremely expensive. How far, how far they can go, what does cold weather do? I mean, there are a lot of questions out there.
There are a lot of questions. Quite frankly, I think there are a lot of answers.
Yeah.
There are places around the world that have been doing this for a long time. But I think everybody needs to have a better understanding before we can move forward.
All right. So the last, your favorite question will be teachers working without a contract. I know you can't talk about it, but if you and I could work this out right here, I think we could.
Well, and
I'm a little biased.
Of
by
course
the
you
way.
are.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's important to say neither teachers nor any public employee are ever without a contract.
Understood.
Right? So
Yep.
no one's working without a contract.
Yes.
Everyone has the same benefits and protections as they always have. So, but having said that, I think we're going to wrap this thing up pretty quickly.
You feel good?
I feel good. We
All
have
right.
our second mediation session scheduled for the 6th of November, and we all want a solution. Because what we need to do is get back to having the focus on kids.
Yep.
Right? And this is just a distraction, and we all want to get there.
I'm not sure if my wife would be mad at me for asking the question or if I didn't ask. I know I'll find out when I get home.
Well, you got to hedge your bets on that one.
Kaz Tangora, thank you.
How about
You're
this?
welcome.
Instead of electric buses, how about high-speed rail? We'll get them just home and back just before you even know.
I've been waiting for decades.
It's got to happen. It has to happen. Superintendent of Schools in New Hartford, Kaz Tangora, thank you. We'll break. Coming up next hour, Senator Kaz mentioned the Senator Joe Griffo, in studio, coming up at WIBX.
Hi, it's James.
And Megan.
From the all-new Destination Kia of Utica.
What's the next great deal during our grand opening sales event?
I think the best value right now is the 2023 Kia Forte.
Especially with our no money down leases.
Right out in a new 2023 Kia Forte LXS. They get 39 miles per gallon highway for only $358 a month for 36 months.
With 0 down, 0 due at inception, and sales tax included.
Save on the car, save on gas, and get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty.
Now that's kooky. So go kooky for Kia at the all-new Destination Kia of Utica. Puppies and babies not included.
VIN number PE662553. MSRP $21,490. 36 months. 30,000-mile lease. 20 cents per mile over. $0 due at inception. $0 security deposit. 8% sales tax and $650 acquisition fee included in payment structure. $400 disposition fee. 700 plus FICO score. EPA rating. Kia January to December 2022 sales report. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer expires 10/31/2023.
Stop into Mattress Express in Oneida in the Glenwood Plaza by the movie theater. Simply complete a comfort test and get a $25 prepaid Visa card. Names like the Number Bed, Purple, Puffy, Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and more. Hurry, this is a limited time offer.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
She's free. 220 others are not. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. One of the two elderly Israeli hostages Hamas set free, Yocheved Lifshitz, says through a translator they gave them food and medicine and treated them well, but their kidnapping was brutal.
They blew up the fence. Dozens stormed our houses, hit the people and kidnapped people like me. There's no difference between young or old men or women. It was very, very painful.
And both husbands of the two freed Israeli women are still being held captive by Hamas, but a Hamas leader claims they're not hostages, and that Israeli attacks in Gaza have killed 22 of those held captive. Those bombings continue. Fox's Trey Yinks near the border.
Overnight, the Israelis ramped up their airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. More than 400 targets of Hamas and Islamic Jihad.
Palestinians claim those bombings killed another 700 people. It's now more than 5,000 civilians killed in the war as Hamas keeps firing rockets back.
It's difficult because you have these militants living among that civilian population and fighting this war from civilian areas. And it's incredibly challenging for the Israeli military as they respond.
House Republicans will get together in an hour to yet again consider who should be Speaker. Fox's Ryan Schmelz at the Capitol.
With a crowded field of 8 candidates vying for the job, the big question is, can any of them get the 217 votes needed to become Speaker? Congressman Don Bacon says yes.
I think people are so discouraged by what's happened the last 3 weeks that they want to come together.
Jim Jordan dropped his bid after 3 attempts, in which he lost more votes each time. Majority Leader Steve Scalise didn't even go to the floor because he lacked the votes.
It's been 3 weeks since House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was voted out. An Alaska Airlines pilot is charged with reckless endangerment and attempted murder, accused of trying to shut the engines off on a flight from Washington State to San Francisco Sunday when Joseph Emerson was off duty but sitting in the cockpit on the flight. America's listening to Fox News.
Your pet isn't just a pet,
They're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynavite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynavite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's Dynavite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynavite.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
We are dealing with cloudy skies now, 39 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Buy any 4 installed Nokian snow or all-weather tires and get a $100 instant rebate. The Thea Bowman House receiving $250,000 in funding to construct a new elevator at its DeSales Center on Genesee Street in Utica. The facility is home to the Academics First Child Care Center and the Thea Bowman House Child Care Center. That elevator will now provide accessibility options for those who need it. The elevator may also help the chances of filling the vacant 3rd and 4th floors with other nonprofit organizations. The DeSales Center serves more than 400 kids each day through those child care programs. It's a 92-year-old building, and that is the former St. Francis DeSales School. The existing building only has a chairlift, which provides limited access to a small section of the first floor. Well, Election Day is closer than you think. There are several key races in Oneida County, and early voting begins this coming Saturday, October 28th. You can find the hours and locations for early voting in Oneida, Herkimer, and Madison counties. Just go to our website, WIBX950.com. The Syracuse-Rochester-Buffalo region may be getting millions of dollars in grants after being designated as a federal tech hub. The money would go towards semiconductor manufacturing advancement. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's confident the area will get the funding. The first recipients will be named in the spring. No word yet on what projects the money could be used for. And the CNY SPCA launching a new initiative aimed at finding shelter dogs new homes. The Time to Go Home program is lowering the adoption fee for canines who have been at the shelter for at least 6 months by 75%. That means many of the furry friends are now available for just $50. More information online at cny-spca.org. We have cloudy skies, 39 degrees. A warm-up coming, though, this week. Here's what we can expect from Eyewitness News.
On Eyewitness News, Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, patchy frost early in the coldest countryside, then partly to mostly sunny, much milder by afternoon, a high of 68. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 48. And tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, warmer with increasing afternoon clouds. Small risk for a spotty sprinkle or shower near sunset, a high of 72. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WTR. Meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
You know, I just got an alert that said the snow in your area is about to end. So there are some areas this morning which have had some snow.
Boy.
Well,
we haven't even started the World Series
yet.
yet.
We haven't even started, no. Yeah, boy. It's 8:06. We're at 41 degrees.
All right, in sports, last night the Texas Rangers punched their ticket to the World Series, an 11-4 romp over the Astros in Houston. Adolis Garcia homered twice with 5 RBIs. Nathaniel Lowe and Corey Seager went deep as well. The Diamondbacks beat the Phillies 5-1 in Game 6. That sets up a winner-take-all Game 7 tonight. The Phillies aiming to get back to the World Series for the second straight season. Arizona searching for its first trip to the Fall Classic since 2011. Monday Night Football on WIBX. The Vikings upset the San Francisco 49ers. 22-17 the final. Kirk Cousins, 378 yards, 2 touchdown passes, both to rookie wide receiver Jordan Addison. The Vikes now 3-4. San Fran drops to 5-2. The NFL suspending Denver Broncos safety Kareem Jackson for multiple violations of the unnecessary roughness rule. The league announced Jackson was suspended for 4 games. He will appeal that suspension. Jackson was ejected from the Broncos' win over Green Bay on Sunday after he delivered a big hit on Packers tight end Luke Musgrave in the fourth quarter. It was the second time this season Jackson was ejected for an illegal hit. The NFL investigating the Falcons for injury report compliance. ESPN says the NFL is questioning Atlanta about when the team found out that rookie running back Bijan Robinson was not physically well enough, and it was why it wasn't reported per league policy. Previous violations of the rule have been met with fines. Head coach Arthur Smith said that Robinson was not feeling well in a halftime interview during Atlanta's win over Tampa Bay on Sunday. And the NBA season kicks off tonight with a doubleheader. Nikola Jokic and the defending champion Nuggets host LeBron James and the LA Lakers. Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors will battle the Phoenix Suns in their new trio that features Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal.
Okay, I have Joe Lode standing by right now. Joe, good morning. Good chilly morning to you.
Good morning, Bill. You know, as I drive up Route 12 north here to Boonville, I'm impressed with how many leaves are still on the trees.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot that are empty, but there's some nice colors still. If you're heading around this week and you need a drive and you want to get out of the city and check out some fall foliage, it's happening this week. Also, I wanted to ask you, did you hear about the impromptu get-together this Saturday at the Mohawk Legion?
This is something that just happened this past Saturday?
No, it's happening this coming Saturday.
Okay.
It's impromptu. So it was supposed to be the class of 1988 reunion.
Okay.
And a lot of that class is lame, so they're not all going to attend. But more Mohicans are going to crash that impromptu reunion and take over the Mohawk Legion this Saturday.
Wow.
And once again, Joe, define impromptu for us. You did a good job there.
Just happened.
Just happened.
Just
Very
like
good.
one of those things. It
Good
just popped up.
explanation. Yep.
So Joe and I both graduated from Mohawk High School, which no longer exists anymore, right? It's part of Central Valley Academy. And by the way, the superintendent who was just in here for New Hartford, Kaz Tangora, was the superintendent who basically oversaw that merger that occurred down there in Mohawk and Ilion. So, all right, interesting, Joe. So that sounds like it could be quite the event.
Yeah, I mean, you may be able to stop in, Bill, and see some of your classmates hanging out there on Saturday. If that's something you wanted to do.
I love going to the American Legion when you say, I'd like a Grey Goose on the rocks, and you say, how much? It's shocking, right?
In a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. I mean, a very, very affordable place to go and cocktail.
No doubt about it. Okay, we'll see.
Especially for an impromptu gathering like the one Joe is.
An impromptu gathering.
The one that Joe's been planning for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Well, no, I'm DJing it, but, it's impromptu.
Okay, and all right, fair enough. All right, Joe, well, if you're DJing, it sounds like it'll be a hell of a party, so.
It's going to be a hell of a party. Bring a costume. Nobody will even know you're there.
All right, Joe, thank you.
All right.
Have a great day and enjoy the fall foliage up there in Boonville.
Always good to hear from Joe.
Okay. It is interesting how many leaves we still have on the trees, depending on where you go.
Yeah.
We're kind of a bit of maybe late. I think it kind of feels like it's late for these leaves to still be hanging around. But,
and for Joe Lode's pool to still be open. It is late in the season.
Yeah,
that's
true.
right.
All right, I have 2 stories before I break here I thought were pretty interesting. I mentioned almost half of all pumpkin carving injuries occurred this week, 90% happening in the last 2 weeks of the month. Doctors suggest letting adults do the cutting and using the pumpkin carving specific knives rather than using kitchen knives. Ooh. Here are 2 surgeons who have to deal with this, who are giving advice on the best way for safer pumpkin carving strategies. Here we go.
It's really tempting to take that really large butcher knife and kind of say, oh, this will be easy. You either drive it through the pumpkin and through the other side into your hand, or it slips off the pumpkin and lacerates the hand. You know, these small kits are great. You can cut yourself. They're not foolproof, but you have to work a lot harder. Not super sharp, but sharp enough to open up the top of the pumpkin.
You know, I find one way to do this is, if you really want to do it well and do it right, is a good Sawzall. Bring that Sawzall in, does the trick. And then when you want to create holes and that sort of thing, bring out a drill. Use one of the really wide bits, and you can drill right into your pumpkin.
Okay.
Good times.
I saw a tip from somebody over the weekend who suggested you carve out the bottom of the pumpkin instead of taking the top off with the stem. Did you always do the top or the bottom?
Oh, we always do the top.
I've always done the top, too.
I agree. That might be interesting. You lift the whole thing up.
Correct.
But where does the air go? If you're going to put a candle in there.
Well, usually you cut out eyes or a mouth.
Okay,
air
the
can still
will.
get in there.
All right,
Yeah.
Okay. And then I don't know if you saw this story yesterday. Wow. An off-duty pilot riding as a So if you're a pilot or really any employee of the airline, a steward, stewardess, or do they call that anyway? Flight attendant.
I think you just offended
Flight
several
attendant
people.
or a pilot, you can hitch a ride on any plane.
Yeah. For free, right?
Correct. This
Right.
was an Alaska Airlines flight, and it was a pilot who was off duty. Did you see what happened? The pilot was off duty, and there is an extra seat in the cabin.
Okay.
So inside the where the pilots are. So he was in there, and in mid-flight, tried to turn off the engines to the plane.
What?
Yeah. Thankfully, he was stopped and removed from the cockpit. Not the cabin, but the cockpit. He was removed from the cockpit. They got him out the door, and then you know how you can't get into the cockpit.
Yeah.
They shut the door on the cockpit, so the guy trying to take the plane down, a pilot, could not do it. So basically, it was left to all the flight attendants to deal with this guy. But at least, and then they diverted and they
Was
landed.
he drunk?
No,
Was he trying?
No,
he was
no,
trying
no.
to take the plane.
Trying to. At this point, it looks like his 44-year-old off-duty pilot Joseph D. Emerson of California. Doesn't look like it had anything to do with what's happening in Israel. Anything to do with any sort of a protest. Might have been a mental health problem.
Oh my!
Where he was trying to take down everybody. He is now up on attempted murder charges, like 87 counts of attempted murder.
Good.
Among other charges. Here is, this is the on-duty pilot talking to air traffic control. Check this out.
We've got the guy that tried to shut the engines down out of the cockpit, and he doesn't sound like he's causing any issue in the back right now. I think he's subdued. Other than that, we want law enforcement as soon as we get on the ground and park.
Wow.
That's
you got to give
incredible.
credit to the pilot and the co-pilot. They apparently wrestled him out of the cockpit and shut the door.
So we got some bad news here. The show's been canceled because of your use of that language.
Oh, the steward and stewardess.
Yeah.
Boy. Well, is it the whole show or just me canceled?
It might be just you on social media. I'm
Could
hoping
be.
that's the
Okay.
case.
All right. My apologies. I should have said what again?
Flight attendant?
Flight attendant. Joe, you should have been there to correct me.
Good morning.
Good morning. Be careful. Someone knocked your teeth out right there.
Got a dentist in the building.
Hold on, Joe. We're going to come back in a second. Stand by. It's First News Keeler in the morning. Tomorrow we're going to be at the Wynn Hospital broadcasting live. Pretty excited about
Nobody
that.
has ever said that before, ever.
That is
It's
true.
the first
Think about
time
it.
this has ever
Yeah.
been said.
That is pretty true.
It's probably first time that you've ever had a remote from a hospital, though, too.
Well, there was that time in the ER. I'm like,
I mean, the
gotta
stunts
be on
he
the
used to
air.
do.
I got to be on the air. All right, hold on. We'll come back with Senator Joe Griffo. It's 8:16 at WIBX.
Hi, this is Scott Hayes.
And this is Jill Hayes from New York Sash.
Honey, there's a lot of folks out there right now that could use a makeover.
What? Honey, you can't say that. You shouldn't say that.
No, not a personal makeover, honey. Their bathroom. They could use a bathroom makeover from New York Sash. It's our annual bathroom makeover sale. For one final week, you can get 20% off a New York Sash acrylic bathroom system. It's the best price we offer all year.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. It's the makeover everyone can enjoy. A New York Sash bathroom. Our installers will give you a whole new look in just a couple of days, with no mess, no maintenance, and no worries with our lifetime warranty.
Your bathroom will never look better. You can visit our showroom on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro. Call us or lock in your discount right now online at NewYorkSash.com. Get 20% off your new bathroom for one final week.
And let our family take care of your family for less.
Fall is in the air and the season for trucks has arrived at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. If you're ready to conquer the changing weather and want a truck that's like new without breaking the bank, then shop Steed Ponte Chevrolet. Test drive a 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active all-wheel drive with only 13,000 miles, or a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab LT four-wheel drive with only 18,000 miles. These are not just any trucks, they're certified pre-owned by GM, ensuring quality and reliability. Plus, when you choose a certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Ponte Chevy, you'll receive a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Visit us online at SteedPonteChevy.com. Embrace the fall season with a truck from Steed Ponte Chevrolet and find new roads. Steed Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. These trucks won't last long. Offer ends October 31st, 2023.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting WORLD to 64,000. Text WORLD to 64,000. That's WORLD to 64,000.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how's the back pain now? 22.
Wonky work-from-home desks have Dane's Acupuncture booked up.
You need to get in, but this week's so full.
But finding more practitioners has them on pins and needles.
You know, my lunch is in 20 minutes. How fast can you get here?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-3009. 800-200-3009. That's 800-200-3009.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Every once in a while I disappear. Okay, this sounds a little bit better. My microphone has been a mess. It's been an awful show. And I keep every day coming in and just adjusting it a little bit more, and sooner or later I'll get it to the point where it's okay. This seems to be a little better. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2.
Can hear you very clearly. Heard you in the car, but it was strange as I got to a certain intersection near the post office in Marcy. It was you, and there was a revival going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was kind of strange, right at the light. And I'm thinking there's the
Were you
battle.
on the FM or you on the AM?
I was on the AM. It's the first time I've ever experienced that, right at the intersection there. at the light, and
Should not happen
you were
on the
both
AM.
talking, and then there was somebody else.
No.
Reciting
That's
scripture.
when we went into our revival session. We do it now every morning. What time was it?
Just about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, usually about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's usually when we do it, about 5 minutes ago.
Jesus is coming to the world to help us all.
That's kind of what it sounded like.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
then
we
I
could
heard
use
Jeff
it. We could
talking
use
about
it.
Monday Night Football and the
Yes.
Rangers.
Yes. Well, I don't know why that happened.
Yeah.
Good morning.
First time I ever experienced that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was an experience for me, though. I don't know.
Was it some kind of a divine intervention?
It
maybe?
could have been.
Could be.
It could have been.
Yeah. It's like, what are you thinking going to that radio station?
And the
Why would you?
And it was kind of like a battle too, because you would come up and then that would come up, and it was like, what am I experiencing
yeah.
here?
What do you think, Davey?
Right there in the corner of 49.
Joe is right. That does happen when you get down into Marcy.
Oh, that's
Right
really
at
weird.
the post office there. You know what I'm
Okay.
talking about?
Yeah.
That intersection on Kavanaugh.
Well, there must be some sort of a weird
And I got stuck at the light. so that's
electrical
how it happened.
interference. Yeah. Is 950 somewhere like a religious station or something?
Not that I
I
know
don't
of.
know either. No,
It's
I
kind of
don't
like
know.
The Voice on TV
Yeah.
where they have the battle
Yeah.
going on with the two singers. You know.
Right.
There was the minister and Jeff and Bill.
Well, listen, if you're just tuning in, you're really confused.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm confused.
I want to throw some comments in here. I do have a few comments, and then we'll get to you, Joe. Let's see. Donna says, sorry, it's steward and stewardess. That is what I grew up with. Don't like it? Shoot me. LOL.
Well, we're not going to shoot you. We're just going to cancel you. You're not
Apparently
allowed to
that's-
publicly comment on anything ever again.
That's what happens. And, Joe, this is something, don't take offense to this, but Mike this morning says, words politicians never say but would be refreshing. You know what? I've changed my mind on this issue. And this goes to the Galimi situation, where Galimi was. Somebody came out and said Galimi was Celeste's friend, I believe, or somebody did, said that Galimi was against the hospital. And there's apparently a video out there. They all called in and said, including Galimi, who said that is absolutely not true. I was never against the hospital. I was just getting information and doing due diligence. But then when you listen to the video, which Manansky did,
I felt like he was strong on it. He
Strongly
expressed a lot of concerns. He didn't say, I'm going to fight to stop this at all costs. He never said anything like that. But he certainly did not speak in favor of it. And he defended not only the businesses in that area, but really that whole neighborhood quite extensively. And then one of our listeners commented today on the app, and I remember this as well, that he was very, he said a lot of positive things about no hospital downtown.
Yeah. And, you know, the only thing I would say to that, Joe, is in like your expert opinion, you've been around for a long time, what Mike says is it would be refreshing if politicians would say listen, I've kind of changed my mind. I've evolved when it comes to this topic.
I think you've said the same thing, and I think we need to be open in public life. When you're in public service, unfortunately, you have to be careful with words because they mean and there's a weight to these words. So that's why some people are critical, saying, well, you're not saying anything. Well, you're trying to be careful for this reason. But you also need to take a position, and you can learn. I mean, even in Albany, one of the things that we try to do is listen to each other. That's why you have debate, because somebody could sway somebody in debate by indicating a fact or a circumstance that you were not aware of, and you would say, oh, that's understandable and that's reasonable. So you're right. You're right, and the listener is right. I think there are times where you learn things and you evolve, and
you
can change your position.
You can change your position.
I mean, you saw that, I think, in a lot of some of the older individuals that were serving. And if they were facing some type of illness or something, they would take a different position on capital punishment or things of that nature where they may have been.
You saw that with the Reagans, right?
Yeah.
Over a couple of different issues, including the death penalty. And as time went on, especially Nancy Reagan became somewhat moderate, I think, with her beliefs after everything that she had gone through. Interesting stuff. Manansky, other comments?
I know. I was just this is for Senator Griff. I wanted to mention though on Donna's comment that I almost got canceled one time because I recently had used the R word and I forgot you can't use the R word So I simply said to a prize winner, I said, come in and see the receptionist. And
That's
you
the
would
R
have,
word.
You
Yeah.
would have thought,
Yeah.
so it's administrative professional going forward, just so you know.
I just
about the other situation.
I just
where-
say, see the broad at the front desk. She'll take
yeah,
care
that's
of it.
acceptable. All right.
There's another term for flight attendant and stewardess, though, now, too. They call them the crew or something.
Crew.
When they were on talking about this incident last night on the plane.
Is it like crew member or
crew members?
Crew
It says
member,
captain
yeah.
and crew or something
Captain
like
and
that.
crew.
And they had indicated, because there was only 2 crew members, I believe, on that flight, along with the captain.
So
and
what did they? Did you see the report? Because in my story, it doesn't say what happened. So they get the guy. The pilots get the rogue pilot, off-duty pilot, out of the cockpit, and then they close the door, which he can't get into.
Supposedly he was handcuffed.
Oh, he was handcuffed.
And the other thing, and that's what people don't know, where the handcuffs came, if they had handcuffs in the cabin. But it's very difficult, obviously, once the cabin door is closed, to exit that. So there was some discussion right now. Nobody knows exactly what happened. Law enforcement were called. The pilot diverted, obviously,
Yep.
I think, to Portland. But the early reports indicate that maybe he was subdued pretty easily because he had did this, and then all of a sudden he got to the back of the plane, and passengers didn't know. They thought they had a medical emergency, and that's why they were landing. And they had brought him to the back of the plane. Now, how they subdued him still remains to be told, and that will
Well,
be
you
told by the
don't
pilots.
want him to be in a position where he could try to, and I don't think you can, but try to open up the door to the plane. I don't think that can be done.
You mean the cockpit door or the actual
cockpit
escape
door, yeah.
door?
Or no,
'Cause
the
you've had that happen.
regular doors.
Right. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
no,
out of the
that-
cabin doors.
But they indicated that he had been handcuffed.
By the way, the story we're talking about, if we didn't explain, is, if you haven't seen it yet, it was an off-duty pilot who was hitching a ride, which they're able to do.
Correct.
He was sitting in the cockpit with the 2 pilots, and he tried to shut the engines off and take the plane down. And they were able to subdue him and got him out of the cockpit, apparently handcuffed him, and they diverted the plane. Really, you worry about, I mean, it's bad enough you worry about, and you know what I went through with in New York this week, being stuck down there for a couple of days, unable to get any public transportation home.
Yeah, that's amazing that you had the mudslide down there. I know they had heavy rains, and
was
I
in
think that's
Westchester,
the
yeah.
second interruption in rail service there over the last couple of months. So
this took out the entire rail line from New York from the city to Albany, which is a big problem.
It affected not only Amtrak but also Metro North,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is the subway, basically, or train going into the city from that area.
I have a listener that wants me to ask you about daylight saving time, and I think you and I are on different sides. I'm good with just leaving it the way it is. I do enjoy when we go back into like March, and all of a sudden it's later, and I know there's a worry that in the month of December, kids will be going to school. It'll be dark at like 8:30 in the morning. But you feel that we should keep daylight saving time and stay there and not change.
That is correct. I think there's general consensus with all the polls nationally, a significant percentage that want to keep it on one time instead of going back and forth, springing forward and falling back. Everybody that we've talked to, constituents, that's how this started. But also in studies and surveys that have been done and polling, the majority of the population would like to see one time across the whole year, whether it's standard or daylight savings remains to be determined. Also, would not change, it gets confusing, it will not change the time zones. So you would still have Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific time zones in the U.S. But you would then determine, do you stay 12 months a year on standard time, which we'll be on in a couple of weeks, or do you continue on daylight savings time, which we are on right now? Studies that we have seen as a result of looking into this have indicated that daylight savings time is a better approach from a public health perspective, from a public safety perspective.
Yeah.
There's just a number of studies that have been done that show the advantage of daylight savings time. And Marco Rubio in the U.S. Senate, this is under the Uniform Time Act, so states cannot set that time. you can stay on standard time, but you can't say, I'm going to go on Atlantic time. You can't pick the time that you want to go on because it's governed by the federal government. And it's called the Uniform Time Act. So Senator Rubio actually had something passed in the Senate last year. The House did not take it up. That would have allowed this to take place for states to all go into daylight savings time permanently. And what we've tried to do is it's a bipartisan bill that I've put in with Assemblyman Santa Barbara from the Mohawk Valley to go on daylight savings time year-round. And we're trying to build a coalition because we have similar perspectives from different states. So our objective was to get northeastern states to pass all of us to pass one bill to send a message to the Congress. And also we've been working with Ontario and Quebec, the two provinces that had an interest in doing something similar too. So it's almost international in that regard, the approach that we would like to take. And hopefully to have the Senate do this again and then the House to follow suit. But where we are right now is in limbo. In New York, our problem is we had several different variations of this bill, and everybody thinks their bill is the better bill. And I would step aside, but I think our bill, Santa Barbara and my bill, is the best way to approach it because it's simple. It just puts us on daylight savings time.
You and all the other senators, as you just said.
So to give you an idea, what we'd be looking at is the so you get around the 21st, 23rd in that area, right around Christmas time of December, and that would mean that sunrise would be in our area at about 8:30 a.m., which would mean it would still be dark when kids are getting to school.
Well, you're seeing that now, though.
But the sunset would be at around 5:35.
Correct.
So you'd have an extra hour of daylight later on.
Yeah, there were a lot of...
That's if we didn't move back.
Yeah, correct. Again, a lot of, I don't know what we would call them, anecdotal stories in the past of like farmers, things of that nature. What we were looking at when we tried to put the legislation in is what are the current studies that are being done. And I don't have them available to me right now, but we can provide them to you in these various categories that indicated that daylight savings time was the preferred approach for these reasons.
Yeah.
And
okay.
And obviously going to have contrary statistics and
Well,
facts.
it's nice to have with daylight saving time. You know, at one point at the longest part of the summer, usually right there, end of June and July. Sunset would be like 9 o'clock at night, whereas it would be 8 o'clock, and then by August we'd be at 7 o'clock, and we'd be losing that time later during the summer months, which I think makes if you had to stick to one, daylight saving time would be the way to go. I would think
that's the legislation, and as I indicated, there's several other bills that are in right now. That's been the problem in our legislature that. Everybody believes their bill is a little bit better than the other bill. Like one is establishing a new time zone called Atlantic time. But again, I think ours is purist in the sense that it just says we stay on daylight savings time year round, and we do it with other areas here, like the New England, the Mid-Atlantic states, and the provinces of Quebec and Ontario.
Well, because we couldn't do it alone, right?
We can't do it alone anyway, as I indicated earlier, because the Uniform Time Act governs the federal government governs.
But so what's the thing you're saying now to do it with the others? I mean,
that would allow us to show the Congress that look, you have a whole block
agreement.
of.
Are there a couple of states that are currently not participating? Like Arizona?
Yeah, I think it's Arizona, and it was Indiana at one time that stayed on standard time, though. They're allowed to do that.
I see, okay.
You can't just pick your own time zone, but they could stay on standard time year-round. It was two of them. But that's changed, too, in one of the states because there was actually a portion of the state that was, on standard time and the others in daylight savings time. So there's only two states, that remain on standard at this point, which is what we'll be going into on November 5th.
Yeah. All right, there's a full story up on our website about when we change and why we change. All of that's up on our website at WIBX950.com.
This has generated a lot of attention.
I'll bet it is,
and solicited a lot of different opinions, obviously. It's kind of interesting because each time we approach this, because, again, there is widespread consensus that people would like to stop springing forward and falling back. They just don't understand why we're doing it. And I think some of this started, if you recall, when they needed to conserve energy and things of that nature. So
a lot of different reasons why they say that it was done. Some of it agriculture. I do have to break. We'll come back. Can you hang just a little bit?
Yes.
And a ton more, many more questions to get into. Hold on. It is 8:36 WIBX.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99, save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
The Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties is your community foundation. Together, we've invested $125 million in the community, thanks to people, families, and businesses that want to give back and build a brighter future. And you don't have to have big bucks to make a big difference. Join us as we invest in the future of our community. Learn more about your community foundation at foundationhoc.org.
On behalf of IBEW Local 43 Union Electricians and the NECA Contractors, we are pleased to partner with Syracuse University in providing our members with an opportunity to enhance their education at this great university.
Syracuse University's partnership with the IBEW will provide talented students the opportunity to advance their careers while shaping the future of the electrical trades and the industries they serve.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
In a world where financial landscapes can change rapidly, safeguarding your savings and retirement accounts is paramount. Direct Bullion USA is more than just the #1 rated gold bullion dealer in America. We're your trusted partner in navigating the uncertainties of hyperinflation and political upheaval around the world. Direct Bullion USA can provide you with the knowledge and resources to fortify your financial stability and protect what matters most. Call us now at 888-787-GOLD. Precious metals like gold and silver have been a safe haven investment for hundreds of years. Get started when you call Direct Bullion USA at 888-787-4653 and get your free gold investing starter kit today. All it takes is one call to 888-787-GOLD. Take control of your retirement and protect your future with Direct Bullion USA. Call 888-787-4653. That's 888-787-GOLD.
Fall is in the air and the season for trucks has arrived at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. If you're ready to conquer the changing weather and want a truck that's like new without breaking the bank, then shop Steed Ponte Chevrolet. Test drive a 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer Active all-wheel drive with only 13,000 miles or a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab LT four-wheel drive with only 18,000 miles. These are not just any trucks. They're certified pre-owned by GM, ensuring quality and reliability. Plus, when you choose a certified pre-owned vehicle at Steed Ponte Chevy, you'll receive a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Visit us online at SteedPonteChevy.com. Embrace the fall season with a truck from Steed Ponte Chevrolet and find new roads. Steed Ponte Chevrolet, Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steed Ponte Chevrolet. These trucks won't last long. Offer ends October 31st, 2023.
Hey, there are a lot of people out there right now in need of a bathroom makeover. New York Sash is helping them accomplish this for less. Right now is the bathroom makeover sale, where you can get 20% off your bathroom remodeling project. But it ends November 1st, so don't wait. A New York Sash acrylic bath system will never mold or mildew because it's non-porous, so easy to clean and maintain, won't chip or peel, and is scratch-resistant. With dozens of design options that simulate stone and tile, New York Sash also has a complete line of both quality and affordable accessibility products that can be customized to any bathroom or budget. The New York Sash bath remodeling solution is affordable, a fraction of the cost in replacement, and right now through November 1st, you can get it for even less. 20% off bathroom projects with the bathroom makeover sale at New York Sash. Stop by and don't wait. After the month of October, the sale is gone. Stop into their showroom in Whitesboro or visit NewYorkSash.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Senator Joe Griffo in studio today, helping us celebrate National Bologna Day. That is what today is, Joe. I'm just telling you.
You just opened that up really well.
Slipped it right in there. National Bologna Day. Bologna.
Bolognas.
And the senator in studio here is Senator Joe Griffo. You have...
I was going to mention the split states thing, and also I wanted to try to change your mind on the preference of standard time. No, daylight savings time versus standard time, and I'll try to explain why.
Prefer if it were to be anything, I would prefer daylight saving time.
Right, which means it's like sunlight until almost 9 o'clock, or sometimes 10 after 9 in the summer.
Yeah.
Well, just think if it was only because if you the only reason I say this is because if you stayed with the daylight savings time, as you've pointed out, in the month of December,
it's dark. It's still dark at 8 o'clock in the morning.
8:30.
8:30.
8:30 is when the sun comes up,
Yeah.
according to this website that I'm on. That I find to be pretty accurate. So, if you kept it at 7:30, you would get the earlier sunrise, which is probably, people would argue, it's a good thing for productivity. And then in the summertime, instead of the sun going down at 5 after 9 in the latest scenario, it would go down at 5 after 8. That's not that bad. You still get your nice cool evenings, Sun goes down, you have your little fire, your fireworks, whatever.
But what time would the sun be up in the morning?
Probably like, let me double check.
8:30. It'd be like 8:30 in December.
No, it'd be 7:30.
No. That's standard time.
I'm saying if we kept standard instead of daylight savings
I
time.
see. Okay.
Year round.
If you keep standard year round, you're right. You would.
You would get the earlier. You wouldn't get the late summer nights as you
Here's
get.
the problem you have is if you work, you get home at 5 o'clock at night or 4 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night. You want a few hours of daylight, and an hour would be taken away.
And you can always resolve it all by relocating to the equator.
That is true. Where there's
then you get that balance of 12 and 12.
Yeah, that's nice.
And
That's
I'll
nice.
tell you
can
this:
stay up all day long.
Yeah, there's a problem here though with what I just said. Sunrise currently under daylight savings time, longest days of the year.
If you left it at daylight saving time, it would be 8:30 is when the sun in December. The reason we switched to standard, it moves it to 7:30.
And in June, the sun comes up at 5:30.
Correct. There'd be a lot of wasted time there.
And
for people to get
so
up
if you
early,
switched
it'd
it
be-
back,
Yeah.
right? You switched it back. Would it be the sun would come up at 4:30? Up at 6:30.
Correct.
Oh, that's not that bad though.
Yeah, I know. Oftentimes in the summertime, we're leaving work or we're getting to work and starting the show. It's already daylight in the morning. So we figured all this out, Joe. It's
Well,
been
let's
very
go
frustrating.
standard then. I think we just solved it.
I like where we are currently, where we switch, but you don't like it.
I'm thinking that based on interaction with constituents and surveys that have been done right now, the majority of people do not want to spring forward and fall back.
Okay.
So you have to make a choice then what time do you follow? I would prefer daylight savings time, and that's
okay.
We push the
You've
bill
been doing this for a
based
while,
on-
I can tell.
based on the reports and the studies that we've seen. Nothing to do about what we had have personal preferences about. I would love 12 and 12. That would be great, right? Like they have at the equator. But
I want to switch gears here if we could and get off this topic for God's sakes. Let's talk about the
all about
thruway.
time.
Let's talk about the thruway. Do you think the thruway is? You're saying the thruway is a mess right now.
Yeah, I think we have a real problem with the thruway right now. If you look at the recent toll increases that took place, and people were really concerned and upset about that. If you look at the way the facilities were built on the thruway right now, many of them you have vendors there in some cases that are not open on certain days.
I've done a lot of travel on the thruway. I do like the new. I like the new places. Some are big, some are smaller. I'm not sure how they got to that design, but you're right. A Chick-fil-A, if you're traveling on a Sunday, Chick-fil-A's closed.
Yeah, there have been concerns about access to food on certain days, cleanliness, and a lot of people disagree. They'd like to see standard type of a structure.
Same size, yeah.
So that people have that opportunity. And beyond that, you're looking at, so the electronic tolling has become somewhat of an issue too. Many people seem to be charged when they're not really where they say they were. So we warned about that and talked to them about the problem with and then with the system. In some cases, people are not paying their tolls too, particularly out-of-staters, because they're just absconding. They're not paying a toll, and then that price then comes back onto the residents and the users here in New York.
Are states all working together? Like if somebody doesn't pay you, they're not.
No, they're trying to, and they need to in order to make that work, but they're not at this point in time. So when you look at all of these elements of the Thruway now, the change in the electronic use of the Thruway, continuing to focus it as a user-based system, the increase in tolls, the facilities that are on the Thruway right now, I think it's time, similar to what happened when Governor Dewey determined that this had a vision for creating something like Interstate 90 here, the New York State Thruway. We need to do something similar, and we're going to ask the governor maybe and request that we have a hearing, a joint hearing of the Senate Committees on Transportation and Corporations, because the Thruway is a public benefit authority. And I think we really got to reimagine and have a new vision for what it is and what it could be.
They must have done a survey as to which area gets the most traffic and which areas don't get a lot of traffic. So those that don't get a lot had the smaller rest areas, and then the ones that are pretty busy get the bigger ones. I don't know. I like the grab and go stuff. I like the seating areas they have there. The bathrooms, relatively clean. There's staffing there where there wasn't. I mean, when it was at its worst, when they were about to switch over and they just stopped fixing anything that broke or was dirty. They just let it alone.
Well, you still have some where now, because they're under construction, where you can just maybe get fuel.
That is when you gotta go and they tell you it's 87 miles till the next bathroom. Man,
it's outrageous.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question though on the tolling? It's my understanding that the business or the agency, whatever it might be, the service that sends out the bill when you get a bill on the Thruway, if they mail it to you, if you don't have an Easy Pass, it's the same company that serves multiple states, maybe in the Northeast. Could be the case. Doesn't matter.
I'm not aware of, but
why can't there be an interstate agreement? Sure. Because let me ask you this: if I got a bill on the Thruway, I don't have Easy Pass, believe it or not. It's like Jeff get with the times, so I get a paper bill. If I don't pay that bill, what happens? Because it's always like a trip to Syracuse or Albany. It's always like $8.
Well,
it's
this
nothing,
is what
right?
the senator was just talking about. We need a multi-state agreement that if you don't
are you
pay
telling me if I don't pay the $8, they could suspend my license or issue a ticket?
Yeah, especially because you're a New York State resident, so they would have access to that.
Yeah.
So
but if I lived in Massachusetts and ran up $80, $500 in here, they couldn't do anything to me?
It's harder to do that. We do have some reciprocals with a few states.
I think we work with Massachusetts, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. We work with the nearby states in the Northeast corridor.
The ones we
touch.
But
when you get down into other states across the country, we may not work with them.
West Virginia.
That's a problem. Yeah.
If you're going to have toll roads, then you have to have some type of reciprocal agreement with other states in order to ensure that everybody is fulfilling their responsibility and obligation on a toll road. You can't have somebody from another state come in and abscond, and then that burden is put on the resident of the state in which you're in. But beyond that, there are also issues right now where people are being charged wrongly.
So I have an example of that. This is Donna this morning, who says, my son got a mail toll. It was received 40 days after he used the highway. They tacked on $50 at 30 days because they said he was late paying, but he didn't get it until late. He had to argue to get rid of the $30 fee.
Yeah, no, that's why we're aware of this, because we have a number of constituent calls, and we are interacting and advocating on their behalf, and we've been able to resolve some of these issues. You were in New York City recently, and I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but there was a time when you would be getting bills from New York City saying that you were illegally parked or you were down there and you had never been there. So the problem with that is the burden then comes on you to go show them that this is wrong. Yeah. And that's a problem, in my opinion, because it's taking time from you. You have to expand an effort to disprove something that was never true to begin with because some bureaucracy screwed up somewhere. And now we're starting to see that on the Thruway. And I think that's wrong. And
Okay.
fortunately, our office has been helpful in most instances to help navigate this with constituents. But that's a problem.
Okay, I wanted to ask if you think the governor could have done a better job of supporting our Jewish population by maybe visiting Muncie and then go down into New York City and go showing her support at Jewish areas in the city, as opposed to flying off and using all those resources to fly to Israel.
Well, she's indicated. I don't have.
And our sympathies go out to her. She lost her dad while she was there.
Sympathies do go out to the governor on the loss of her father, and I really don't have a quarrel with her traveling. I mean, I agree with you that you need to, and I believe that they've tried to do that and get to various Jewish communities throughout the state. The trip to Israel was a trip of solidarity. Whether it could have or should have been done remains to be determined, but I'm not going to criticize her on that. I understand that it was not. We haven't gotten a full accounting of the cost associated with it, but my understanding is that it was paid for by an outside organization that was allowable under the state ethics laws, and that the state picked up the tab for her security. I'm not sure who traveled with her. I understand there was a couple of staff as well as security detail that she has always with her right now. So I think that's what we were told preliminarily. I don't have anything specific, any details on that. But again, I'm not going to quarrel with a solidarity trip because of the Jewish population in New York. I mean, you have a high,
which is the largest, I believe, in
the state of Israel.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll just have you know that that was the exact answer given by Lance and Lee. So you guys are completely on the same page there.
Wow.
Massachusetts. This is from John in Deerfield. Massachusetts is having the same issue about not paying tolls. It costs the state agency more to collect the toll than the toll costs. If a stamp is over 50 cents and the toll is 35, I don't know where you get a 35-cent toll, but maybe in Massachusetts they have shorter space between exits, so you get these real cheap ones. The state loses $15 just to collect the toll.
Yeah,
that's probably a good point.
15 cents, not $15.
No,
I'm
but
sorry.
It's a good point being made, and that's why I think this is the time to do this. You have a new executive director and staff there. It's an opportunity right now for the governor, perhaps in her state of the state, to take a look at, to reimagine and have a new vision for what this should be. Many people would like to see it toll-free. So there's a lot of opportunities to now re-examine this, reimagine this, and have a new vision for what the Thruway will be, because you have all these other factors now, right? You have the new gantries, the electronic tolling. We know there's problems with that. You've had the increase in tolls. There's road conditions. There is the new facilities that have been built and how they've been built. This is the chance to say, let's look at this holistically and look at it for the next 50 years.
Toll-free is not realistic, though, is it?
Well, it's right now a user-based system. So based on that, no. Right?
Wouldn't you rather have it user-based because somebody from Mississippi is paying for it,
but
as opposed to
paying for it? That becomes
right.
a problem. So
well,
that's,
that's
you have to look at everything.
Right. I mean, that is that means that we moved on this prematurely, right? We moved too quickly.
And then be first, though.
And then
you
buses,
have to be first. Doesn't matter if you're right. You just got to be first.
Electric buses. Kaz Kangura said that he agrees with you to, we need to put the brakes on this because
no pun intended.
We are not necessarily ready with the infrastructure to meet the governor's deadline.
Look, this is unreasonable. It's unrealistic. You need to talk to the people on the ground. That's a problem in Washington and Albany, that when we're going to make decisions, we don't talk about the people who have the information that we need to gather and understand in order to reach the decision that's going to be made. And in this case, this is more ideology than it is good policy. It's unrealistic. It's going to be very expensive. So we need to listen to the superintendents and those who are in the transportation aspect of the school districts as to how, and then there's also weather conditions here in upstate New York. So I think this is a big problem, and I think, yes, we need to put a moratorium on it right now and to give them the opportunity to provide input and to do this the right way if you're going to go there.
Previous answer I gave was you have to be first, not right. I think this applies here. We had Tom Highland of Utica Mac on the program. I understand you're going to be meeting with him because he's got a similar issue as it relates to not electric buses, but electric trucks.
Right. We're going to go over there, but a lot of this is governed by the the climate bill that was passed, which we did not support at the time for the reasons that I gave you about being unrealistic and unreasonable and not getting the proper input from the various segments of society that need to be heard, like Tom. But this is all part of the CLCPA is what it's called, and it's going to be very burdensome. You're going to have a detrimental impact on the economy. You're going to force significant costs on, I would say, ratepayers, which are also taxpayers. So, or the businesses that are functioning here. So there's a lot of issues here, and it's just it's wrong for a lot of reasons. Even though I understand, you have a clean energy agenda, and I think we can approach that, but we can do it reasonably and realistically, and that's what we're
really
doing.
rely on industry and the businesses to at least rely on what their expertise to be able to.
Exactly.
And everyone is telling her. We need to slow down here.
Yeah, the goals and the deadlines are ridiculous.
Melissa DeRosa wrote a book about Andrew Cuomo. Did you see that? And in there, she said he was running for governor, but for family reasons decided not to. Okay, but I wanted to ask you about
president.
What do you mean?
President.
Running for I thought he was running for governor.
Oh, okay, running for governor.
Last year, you mean?
Yeah, in 2022, I think he was running he was going to rerun for governor, and for family reasons decided not to. Okay, but the quote that I wanted to ask you about is she was
the Twitter.
The
exchange.
What was the Twitter exchange?
Her and I.
Oh, that is. She was a toughie, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, she spoke about Governor Hochul and really called Hochul a lightweight. Said that she was best kept around for ribbon cuttings, certainly not as an executive. What's your take on that?
I have not read the book, and again, you're going to have a variety of opinions.
That's a pretty big slam from a Democratic.
Best kept
supporter
for ribbon cuttings?
She was kept around for ribbon cuttings.
Yeah, I heard that. I've not seen this except for some of the things that have come out in abbreviated, cursory kind of stories that I've seen right now. Said that Brian Brown was his choice, but he settled on her. I think that was another thing she said.
Yeah.
That Brown is the mayor of Buffalo currently.
Yeah, very interesting stuff there, Joe. Stay out of her crosshairs. But that's what I would tell you.
DeRosa got in trouble or had a falling out with the governor, did she not?
Apparently not. She did a lot of defending of him in this book.
Oh, that's
interesting.
interesting.
There you go. Senator Joe Griffo, thank you.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
All
We'll
right.
see you in a couple of weeks.
Tomorrow we're live from the Wynn Hospital. We'll be broadcasting live from over there. Congratulations on...
Any theatrics?
I thought you said geriatrics. Is that where you're coming from?
No, that would be all
probably.
of us,
Yeah, probably. All right, Joe. Thank you. Got to go
Take
back
care.
here tomorrow morning.
Hi, it's Joe Carbone from Power Sports of Utica. It's our end of the model year blowout sale. With over 450 units for sale. Save up to $3,500 on side-by-sides, $3,000 on snowmobiles, $3,000 on watercraft, up to $2,000 on 4x4s, financing as low as 1.99. Save thousands on all used inventory. Save up to 70% on general merchandise. October 16th through the 28th.
WIBX Utica Rome.
House Republicans are about to try again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, voting in private this hour on their next choice for Speaker.
A balloting process where we will go through and strike one at a time until we get to the winner.
Though that winner behind closed doors may fall short on the House floor like Jim Jordan last week, Congressman Pete Sessions, one of 8 candidates they'll consider today, but he tells Fox.
While I'm a 99% conservative, it may not be enough.
It's been 3 weeks since the House voted Kevin McCarthy out as Speaker. One of the 2 elderly Israeli hostages Hamas set free says they did give her food and medicine, but calls her kidnapping 17 days ago in the deadly terror attack brutal.
They stormed our kibbutz. They kidnapped me, laid me on my side on a motorbike, and rammed into the fields toward Gaza.
You have Leifshitz's husband still being held captive, along with 200 other hostages.
The Israelis have dropped leaflets across the Gaza Strip urging any Palestinians with information on where these hostages may be held to send it along via WhatsApp or over text message. Even on this leaflet, there's a